Hey, everybody, calm down. Shh. Let's conduct the meeting here. If anyone has a cell phone or a pager, please put it on silent or vibrate, not to interrupt the meeting. If you want to speak, step outside, please.
You're gonna have to be quiet back there.
If anyone has a cell phone or a pager, please put it on silent or vibrate. If anyone wants to speak, talk to their friends, go outside, please. We have a busy, busy night here tonight. My name's Marty Akins, I'm the chairman, this is the vice chairman, Mr. Radell, board members, Mr. Himmel, Mr. Chin, and Mr. O'Brien, clerk, Ms. Murphy, and assistant clerk, Ms. Noonan. Commissioner Duca of the buildings is here. We have some big business to do tonight, so we're going to keep the speaking as minimal as you can. Get to the point right away, please. First up for old business is 15 Jewett Street. I know Council McCarthy wants to speak. Council, you want to say something first?
Good evening, guys. Dave McCarthy, Ward 1, 48 Whitney Road. Yeah, there's a few items here tonight. I just wanted to, especially in Ward 1, I wanted to make sure everyone was clear on how the meeting was going to be run, if folks could speak, or was the last round we had, because it's been months ago, when we had folks in here first for 105, then it went back to planning. I just want to make sure that everybody understands what's going to happen. The first item that's up also is 15 Jewett.
Yep.
I didn't receive the plans. I think they're up in the office, but I'd like to have a neighborhood meeting. I know that's changed a lot.
Yep.
I think Mr. Foley and I agreed on that one, so we were going to try to pull it together. So on 15 Jewett.
How about September 27th?
That works, Marty.
All right?
Thanks, Mark.
All right. Could I have a motion for Jewett Street for September 27th?
Mr. Chairman, ZBA 21-17 Lone Dome for variance finding to...
Listen up first, listen up. Listen up, please. Please,
about
Counselor, listen up.
To construct single-family home on the lot using a flow-through foundation and driveway pavers on the premise numbered 15 Jewett Street, Quincy. Make a motion to move that hearing to 9/27.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved. If anyone's here, if anyone,
We've been going through this for 2 years. He knows what we've been going through. All of a sudden, he wants to have a neighborhood committee. What happened 2 years ago? Why didn't you get in touch with the neighbors in, Mr. McCarthy?
hey, Mr. Bonner, wait a minute, listen up here, listen. They changed the plans to a single-family home. He don't have the plans. He asked tonight if he could move it for 4 weeks. We said yes. So that's what we got, Mr. DeBoner, and that's what they've asked for, and that's what they've gotten from the board. What would you like to say?
He's had the plans for over a week.
You know what our job is to do? When a guy's bringing a building in front of us and the council wants a meeting, we say yes. The council wants to meet with the neighborhood, we say yes. Okay. The neighbors can be mad at him, but he has a right to move the meeting to have that. You don't think we want this off our plate? We do. We do. It's been here, like you say, a year almost.
2 years, Mr.
Well,
Hager.
I know it's been going on a long time. It's been going on. Ms. Mahoney.
Can I come up?
Yeah. And I hope it ain't a speech. I hope it's about this. Thank you.
It's not a speech. This has been here before you since April of 2021, and in April of 2021, they had a two-family that was before you, which they did not own the land at the time. They could not show ownership of the deed. These neighbors proved that they couldn't show ownership of the deed. At that point, it should have been removed from the table completely and brought back, and just brought back as a new plan. But instead, it just keeps being pushed forward. At this point, not only has this neighborhood, but other neighborhoods have been forced to hire attorneys to come before you, before this board.
I don't know why why they have to,
Well,
because no decision has been made yet.
But this is something that shouldn't be being pushed forward and being pulled off at the last minute.
Ones that are
Being pulled forward and
People
pushed
that
off
are
at the last
asking
minute.
is the council is for the neighborhood.
Yeah, the
So that's what
counselor,
we do.
which, if that was the case, it should have been done much earlier. Maybe the plans need to change at that point. The counselor has been in touch with this family, these neighborhoods, and has not actually been truthful with what's going forward. So I'm just standing here before you today because there's a lot of people, and it's a lot of
understand.
things that are going on
I
tonight.
understand it.
And these
Believe me.
neighborhoods are all, they're all bringing in attorneys at this
believe
point.
me, I
And
would
that's
like
not a
it off
safe
our
point.
plate, too.
Well, I think if you took it right now, you'd realize it should be off your plate because it's actually asking to build another family on a residential that already has a residential property on it.
So anyone that's going to be here for that hearing is September 27th at 6 PM. Further on to tonight's agenda. In the old business, 2171. Patrick Foley for variance to demolish the existing single-family home and build a new home on 49 Shea Street. The applicant and representative here. Yeah,
Maybe you can borrow,
call someone else must have one.
there's one there, yeah, there was one, I knew there was.
Thanks, Chris.
Same thing. Right? No, here's the update. Right. Counselor, go ahead, you have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Patrick Foley, and I'm the attorney for 49 Shea Street. This is a property located in the residential B zoning district. This is the second time before you on this. We have tried to listen to some of the neighbors' concerns, and we've made a lot of the changes that the board and the neighborhood have suggested. We are still seeking to convert the existing single-family to a two-family with 4 parking spots. Dave will go over in more detail, but I'd like to get involved with some more of the changes that we made to make the project less dense. First off, we dropped each unit a bedroom from 3 bedrooms to 2. The rear setback, which was 14.4, is now 21 feet. We dropped the FAR from 0.75 to 0.69. We've dropped the building height a foot. The neighbors in the back didn't like the raised deck in the backyard. We have since made that a yard-level deck/patio. The design of the building, we got away from that boxy look that we originally proposed, and we got more into a neighborhood-friendly design with a slanted roof. The open-air roof deck, which was 550 square feet, which everybody seemed to hate, has been cut in more than half to 235 square feet, and now is completely enclosed. I'm going to have Dave Rose, our architect, go over some of the plans in more detail.
Could you turn that a little so the board can see it too, please? Thank you.
Golden. You see the John? Slide down, Charlie, if you need.
I'm good. Thank you. So,
Name and address, please.
Oh, David Rose.
Address?
I live in 2262 Queens Way, Florida.
Thank you.
But this property's been in our family since 20 years. And developing it is something that, it's always on the wish list. And, now we're trying to turn it into a two-family, as you know. And we try to take all the comments that we had in the last meeting, neighborhood meeting, and addressed every single one. And I think we addressed every single one as far as I know. And came back with the modifications that I mentioned. It's an existing non-conforming lot as far as size, setback, pretty much everything, other than the bungalow itself. Where it's located is completely non-conforming. It's right up against the lot line, garage is right against the lot line currently. And all those changes that Pat mentioned are evident in the plan as well. start actually in the basement, because that's where we used to have bedroom down there. Now it's just a main room, and down, it's basically just open space. So we move up to the second floor. We did some changes that allowed us to, change material on the walls and introduce some slope roofing, break up the massing a little bit. You'll see that on the front and rear when I do the elevations. The plan itself hasn't really changed. It's just an open plan, living, dining, kitchen concept on the first floor. That's the first floor again, the same thing. This is the yard space that Pat mentioned. It's just hardscape, ground level, no raised deck, just a stair to get down to it, and that's it. Parking, I forgot to mention that. Four-car parking in front. Did change the rear setback to 21 feet, as Pat mentioned. The side setback on this side is still 14.6, which is 5 times more than what it was. It used to be 3 feet, I think.
Yeah.
2.4 feet. So, going up, the second floor, that's where the bedrooms are, master bedroom, and another guest room. That's it. Roof deck, that's the 200 square foot roof deck that Pat mentioned. It's completely enclosed with pit roofing all the way around. So there's no ability to go up to a railing and peer into somebody's yard, which is what I think the butters were concerned about. And the elevation, you can see we introduced the gables facing Shea Street, which is this elevation. Rear elevation's the same. And that's the entry side, which is on the right side of the building. And hip roofs on the pretty much all the way around. Change the density of the material so it doesn't present as a big monolithic building. So on the body of the house, we have clapboard, and on the other elements that I've called out with a different kind of striation, that would be either a larger scale clapboard or shingle. So just to break up the massing a lot more, make it more contextual with the neighborhood.
I have no questions. Any questions of the board?
Apartments, condos?
2 condos.
It's going to be owner occupied. One of them's going to be owner occupied. It's completely vacant right now. They're just waiting to move back in there.
Thank you.
Just a 2-family, it doesn't have to be a condo.
Yeah, no, I was just more like, is it sold, or is it gonna be rented, or is
Oh,
it
no, it's gonna be held for.
held as your family property? still?
Well, it's my partner's now.
Okay,
I sold
okay.
it to him.
Okay.
But it's staying within the group, if you will.
Sure.
And it'll just be a long-term.
Sure.
build.
Okay, thank you.
Next 25 years. Well, however long we can keep it rented, really.
No questions.
No, I'm good.
Thank you. You can have a seat. Is there anyone here that want to speak in favor? Anyone want to speak in favor of Shea Street? First call. Second call. Third call, we'll call that part of the hearing closed. Correspondence?
In favor? No, or opposed?
Just the correspondence.
We've reviewed the submittal for the above referenced project, and our comments are as follows. Specify how much impervious area will be increased due to the development. Provide plans showing the existing site conditions, layout of utility, grading, drainage, and the construction details. Explain how the surface runoff will be discharged and treated. Provide dimensions and grades for the paving area and all driveway entrances. Shea Street was paved in April of 2022. There's a 5-year moratorium for any digging on newly paved streets. If further information is required, please advise.
Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Want to speak? First call? Anyone? Second call? Third call? I have
Wait,
a
wait, 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 I'm gonna speak. I just can't believe there's so many people here and no one cares about all projects in the city. They just care about just, individuals. I looked at this one before. This is, out of all the projects that I've seen, this project's worse than the one on C Street. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Anyone else? all that part of it enclosed. I have a letter here I just want to put in the record. From Nathan Wales, property is 78 Baxter Ave. Says, if this is heard tonight, I am in a butter, out of town. Due to the death in my family, I would like to make a statement on the record that the applicant was supposed to meet and discuss plans with the neighbors. They did meet with neighbors once this winter, but had no new plans to share. They only addressed one of my concerns regarding the multiple variances they were asking and seeking verbal statement, a continuation by the applicant, as they stated they would meet with the neighbors again and show actual modified plans. To this date, we have not done so, and I would urge the board to deny the variances for the same reason stated in my original letter from my attorney, my own appearances before the board, as well as the fact that the neighbors so far have been given no opportunity to review any new plans. Counsel, I just want to ask you about this, Nathan Wales, have you talked with them at all?
Nathan Wheels, we met with him on site.
Huh?
We met with him on site,
All right.
back when the proposal originally came on.
All right,
And then he came to the Zoom meeting. We listened to a lot of things. He was actually one of the most vocal ones, and we listened to most of his concerns, which we addressed.
This is dated today.
No, I know, I understand,
All right,
Mr. Chair.
I think, you should call them and have a conversation.
And we've been in dialogue with Councilor Andronico for the whole process.
No, I mean, you're saying you met with them, and you changed all the things, and you changed the things we have asked you to change. So I don't know what happened there, something got missed, I guess, by him. Thank you, Counsel.
Thank you, Chair.
Counselor Mahoney, seeing a representative of the neighborhood has asked for a neighborhood meeting, and the counselor is not here to be able to do that, I would ask the board to honor the neighborhood's request and postpone this until a neighborhood meeting has been had. Thank you.
Counsel, you're up.
That's not his one.
Oh. I'm sorry. I had brain freeze for a minute. I'm going, what just happened?
It's one of those weird neighborhoods.
Yeah. How just happened? All right. Since the council couldn't make it, she wants to move this.
I'm comfortable making a decision. He specifically says at the end of that letter as well, that if we don't make a decision on this tonight, that we shouldn't leave this open indefinitely. So, I mean,
No, I understand what he's saying, but, the council is saying that maybe the people haven't got to see this, and I don't know. I don't like a letter getting here the day of from someone that says they haven't been dealt with, and the people here saying they have been dealt with, so.
just saying.
Yeah, I know, and I would feel better if the council maybe did have a meeting with the neighborhood, but it's funny, I only got one letter. I didn't get a bunch of letters from people saying they never met with us, or.
what I mean.
Clark, have you heard anything on this project at all? No.
We won't show up to the next one. We'll be in the same boat.
Huh?
Just from Nate Wales.
Yeah, all right.
If you want to give him 2 weeks to get in touch with the guy.
Yeah, we can do that, and come back 23rd and just make a decision. I don't think you do need a meeting, because the
only
clerk
one guy.
hasn't heard anything from anyone, and the council isn't here. And Counselor, no, not you. Mr. Horn, did he ask you to have a meeting?
No, he did not. I
No.
have, but Counselor Andronico might be away because I've been getting several phone calls from that area, so I'm not sure. I just know that he's dealing with something in his work today, so I can get in touch with him if you'd like. Try to. I just don't, if I can.
I mean, these things, I know what you're saying. You don't want to go on and on, but yet we're doing.
I don't want, yeah, no,
You know
I'm
what I
not
mean?
asking,
So-
I'm not asking people to go on and on, but this is a particular case in which plans have been changed, and the gentleman, the attorney who's representing the developer, has said we've met all of the requirements of the person who wrote in as of today, and as of today, they have not seen that. Now, the thing is that if we really truly want to be representatives of the community that we're developing these things in, then we should go out of our way to have those community meetings to be able to show people the changes of the plans, and it's up to the developers to do that, and it's also up to us as a board and as a community to be able to ask for those things.
It is. is.
A request for 2
And
weeks
it's up to
isn't-
the counselor to ask for it too, and the counselor had, I mean, he
Yep.
wrote me a letter, everyone else writes me a letter,
Yep.
all the time.
Well,
Mr. Akins, could you
I'm a
please
counselor at
do-
large, so I get to represent the whole city, so I'm asking as a counselor at large.
A homeowner also has the same rights. He's owned the home for 20 years.
Yes.
He's been in the family.
Absolutely.
They have the same rights as the abutter.
I had the same rights as a homeowner in the city of Quincy too. When I did my addition, I had to go through all sorts of things to have things
We're
done.
getting off.
Because the
Let's-
zoning
hey,
rules,
hey,
the zoning
let's
rules
stop,
were
let's
actually
stop, let's
upheld
stop,
at that
let's stop
time,
right
so.
now. Here,
Zoning rules were actually upheld.
we're gonna have a meeting, whoa, everybody, hold it. We're gonna have a meeting the 13th, and we'll make our decision. I'm gonna have to talk to this guy myself and the council. If I don't get hold of the council, I'm gonna talk with him and make sure you two met. All right?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion just to put this to the 13th for decision only.
ZBA 2171, Attorney Patrick Foley for a variance to demolish the existing single-family home and build a new two-family townhouse-style home on the premise number 49 Shea Street, Quincy. Make a motion to move the hearing to 9/13.
Only the microphone.
I'm moving the meeting to 9/13. Make a motion.
September 13th, we will be voting on it. Is the motion made? Seconded?
Second.
On the motion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Should just make it go last and let all these people sit there.
Further on old business, ZBA 2175, JBC C Street LLC for variance to demolish the existing building and construct a new 24-unit residential building with parking on the premises, 105 C Street. The applicant of the council, you have the floor.
Good evening. For the record, Christopher N. Carroll. I'm attorney of record for JVC. This is a continued public hearing. I know that the agenda is tight. I'll make a brief presentation, and then I'll put our team in place to make a presentation and answer any and all questions. Just wanted you to know that this is an irregular 27,000 square foot lot. It narrows towards the rear, and we have effectively 125 feet to work with as far as locating the building, as far as the building goes to the rear. Because of the location of C Street and the concerns with the sight lines for public safety purposes, we've been asked and we've agreed to move the building further back from C Street than the existing building. Combine these dynamics with the desire to deal properly with stormwater runoff that will flow from the front of the lot to the rear of the lot due to the topography, and we have a small footprint to work with as far as the construction of a new residential building. For this reason, we've brought in design professionals to design a building that takes advantage of the unique lot location, which has no residential properties to the left or right. We have the U.S. Naval Reserve Building to our right and the Custom House Restaurant to our left. The U.S. Naval Building is more than 80 feet away from our building, and the Custom House is almost 90 feet away. There's no impact from the height of the building or abutters as far as visual goes. We've done shade studies to prove that. As far as the access to the parking lot to the rear of the building, we've put a very long driveway to the west side of the lot. The measure will ensure no traffic queuing on C Street to access the lot. The lot of the driveway determine the entrance point to the garage, another factor in determining our approach to the structure. Finally, we've worked on a site remediation plan installing tanks and other measures to ensure proper storm water runoff is combined on the site and does not flow the natural flow path into the abutting wetlands. The extra site work is an expense, but we realize it's something that we have to do to protect the public health and safety. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the development team, who then will bring in the site engineer and bring in our architects to discuss the project with you. Thank you for your concern.
Can you get one?
We didn't hear it. We heard it at 24, not 18.
I know, but you, one second. This whole thing was heard for 24 units, correct?
Correct.
The only, right. Hey, you think we can afford a frickin' PA system here? Jesus. It's not even that, it's sad, is what it is. You know, They got microphones here, I don't know, these for cable, and cable gets it, we don't get it? Come on, work, will you? Yes. December 14th, right. And it was everything for the project. The only thing we're changing is the size of it, down to 18 units, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so
For the record.
show us where you did your chopping on that, so we know.
So this is our existing conditions plan. Oh, sorry. Patrick Magoon with DeSelberg Sala and Associates.
Address? Your address,
14 Rose Street, Plymouth, Mass.
thanks.
This is the existing condition plan here. It's the existing Imperial Terrace restaurant. You can see that a large portion of the site is already impervious with the building kind of centered front on it. We have 2 curb cuts there for entrance to the site. The existing site has access to water, sewer, drain if need be, but in this case it's not, gas and overhead wires. The existing flow pattern of the site for stormwater runoff is degrading larger slab sheds from C Street to the rear of the property, with some of it collecting in this low spot here where there's a catch basin that it really doesn't do too much, and it overflows and continues to shed east off-site during any real significant storm. So that's what the existing. So this is the layout of the proposed garage. We have 35 parking spaces in the garage, 5 being compact, with 2 ADA accessible spaces. Then here is kind of more view from above the site as a whole. There's an additional 11 spaces throughout the lot in addition to the underground spaces or the garage spaces, with 2 out front, 9 out back, with the ADA space out front, and 5 visitor spaces, 1 in the front and 2 in the front and 3 more in the back. You can see cars can travel on to the site, and they can either decide to swing into these spaces here, they can go off this way, which this is a one-way out, or they can continue to travel to the back of the site where the garage entrance is in the back right here, where they can continue to proceed to the rear parking of the property. There's a 5-foot wide paver walk around the exterior of the parking lot. Now here's the grading and utilities. For the grading to work, we have a retaining wall along the southerly edge of that driveway entrance to get the grades to pitch, get some grades to work. We're kind of raising it a little bit, but still keeping, the grading going west to east away from C Street. As far as drainage goes, we have 2 trench drains at either entrance of the driveway, which will capture a good amount of the flow that's shedding that way, and it will direct it to Coltech recharge system. There's 49 units. That also collects the entirety of the building, and actually the entire parking lot, save for some of the exterior of the walk, sheds off, and the lawn. But the system itself meets all the stormwater standards, peak flow rates, volumes reduced, meets the recharge volumes, as well as water quality volumes. We had some contact for TSS removal in that regard. And the only storm that overflows is the 100-year storm. It will slightly overflow this curve out back and continue to flow off-site, but that being said, it still reduces peak flows and volumes for that matter. Proposed utilities other than drainage, we're proposing to remove or replace the sewer in a similar fashion, as well as bring in water, underground electric, and underground communications. We're proposing to have a transformer pad on the site. That's really all I have. I don't know if you have any specific questions for me.
Changes from 24 to 18, anything on your end besides parking?
Nothing significant. We had to, tweak it, put the layout, the new layout that was in there, and update our drainage numbers, but.
Sure, thanks.
Yeah.
What's next?
I know.
Tim Johnson, excuse me, Tim Johnson, architect, 599 East Broadway, South Boston. I'll give a very brief presentation, and then the landscape architect will finish up the presentation. Thank you. As the civil engineer mentioned, this is a 0.6-acre site. It's located in the residential subdistrict, Resident B. Multifamily isn't allowed use in this subdistrict. We're proposing to demolish the existing building. And through the year-long community and city review process, which we're thankful for, the building has changed dramatically. Reduced 1 story, and half the initial units proposed remain. So we're now presenting tonight a 3-story, 18-unit residential building, 35 park garage, 11 on-grade parking spaces, for a total of 46 parking spaces, or 2.3 spaces per dwelling unit. The vehicular access to the site is off the existing curb cut on the right front side of the property. It accesses 2 areas of the property of the site. First will be the circular driveway in front, which is our auto courtyard. This is where we'll have drop-off pickup. This is where trash will be picked up, etc. Temporary parking area. When you come out of the circular driveway, it'll be a right turn only on C Street. The second vehicular access point will take you down.
Please, no questions until after. Pat.
The second vehicular access point will take you down the 22-foot wide driveway to the rear, where you access the garage door at the rear of the property. When you emerge from the main driveway, you will only be able to take a right turn during weekday business hours. So both of these exit from the site are controlled weekly or all the time in case you circle the driveway. If I can just finish, I'm going to give a real quick overview because I know there'll be a lot of questions. Thank you. As Patrick mentioned, from Burke Consulting, is that we pushed the building back 7.5 feet to align with the 25-foot rear front yard setback. So we removed that zoning violation from the project. We also took off the roof deck and we relocated it to the 3rd floor plate in the rear. We also took the north stair tower. We reduced that down to the roof plate. So we have reduced, so here's the north stair tower, was reduced down to the roof plate. The roof deck, which was here, is now behind the building. All these design changes are meant to reduce the massing of the building from the street. Bear with me, I'll give you 2 more. This is the entry courtyard, circular driveway, your main entrance, driveway to the rear. The bird's eye view from the rear. This shows where we relocated the roof deck. We reduced the stair tower, all in working in concert to reduce the mass of the building. The roof will now be used exclusively for a solar array, which will connect to the grid or to an on-site battery storage. I'll finish up quickly. The on-site amenities for the residential units will include a gymnasium in the front. They'll have a common lounge area. I talked about the roof deck. There'll also be a place inside for a dog wash. And the rear will have a 5-foot wide dedicated dog walk in the rear of the property. Lastly, the unit breakdown. There are 18 units. There are 4 one-bedrooms at 830 square feet average, 11 two-bedroom units at 1,220 square feet average, and 3 three-bedroom units at 1,593 square feet average, for a total of 18 units, 32 bedrooms. And that is a brief overview. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'll hand it off to our landscape architect.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Michael Radner with Radner Design Associates, 3 Allied Drive in Dedham. My presentation will be brief tonight. You have 4 plans in your packet. First plan lists some technical specifications about planting. The second sheet is a planting plan that details the size, type, species, location, and size of the plantings that are on the site. And our approach to this site is basically to have a fairly robust, sorry, I can't see.
Oh, no, that's good. I got it.
Fairly robust planting along the front as much as we can. There's actually not a blade of grass on this site that needs to be cut. It's a native plant palette, primarily drought tolerant, low water use native plantings. And what we've done is try to give as much planting along that, I'll say that the northeast or northwest corner of the site, in front of this massing of the building, which is closest to C Street, to sort of bring down the massing of the building a little bit with taller plantings. Also along this edge here, as you can see, this gray strip along here, which is a feature wall. A wall that's going to be about this high, and we're going to plant, there's going to be vines on that with a wiring trellis. This is a section through here, maybe a little bit hard to see, but that's about 4 feet high, and that'll be planted with vines and planted up all sides. We have some edge plantings along the Daigle government site along here, along the south. And as Tim mentioned, the dog walk around the edge of the park. You can also see these green areas here, which is basically a green roof, what they call an extensive roof system, which is a low profile, plantings like sedums, things like that, to help reduce the heat island effect, absorbs stormwater, promotes infiltration, has a number of uses. So that's the last. We do have an irrigation plan in the set, and that basically says that all of the landscape areas will be irrigated. Even though we do drought tolerant landscape, we want to have that sort of insurance policy in place so that we can water it. If you have a summer like this, you have to have some kind of supplemental water to keep the plants healthy and keep the weeds down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Counselor, I have a question for you. Original thought rendering was how many units in this building?
Started off in the high 20s, 2024 when we saw you.
When we saw you, yeah, that's when we presented. But originally, we were thinking. Okay, yeah, I thought I remember somewhere in the mid-30s. All right, thank you.
36 went down to 24, and then it brought down to 18. I guess what's changed here is they dropped the floor, they dropped from 24 to 16 units, 18 units. So, and they did some really neat stuff with the solar on the roof too. But you have 18 units up. Listen up, you have 18 units right now you're gonna be dealing with. Now, everyone probably here spoke at the other meeting about why they did. Just listen up, let me finish. We're not in high school, kids, chill out. So, whoever spoke, you can speak, but don't go on and on. Make your points, because we're not gonna be here till 2 in the morning because everyone wants to listen to 5 minutes of the same stuff that everyone's gonna say. Get to the points, why you do or you don't want the project. And we'll open it up, if there's anyone in favor. First call. Second call.
Wait.
Listen up, everybody. Everyone's got a right to speak. No one's gonna heckle anyone here.
You can heckle me if you want. John Rutherford, 62 Grenwall Road. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight for this project. It's great to see just so loud, so many people here in Quincy City Hall. I am disappointed. And one thing I do want everyone on the board to know that this already went to planning. I go to all these meetings. For some reason, we usually have the planning meeting on the second Wednesday of every month. For some reason, this month, they had it on the first Wednesday. So I actually missed that meeting, and I don't have a video copy of that, so this is going to be on TV. Supposedly, there weren't many people at that meeting. I did talk to Mr. Stevens from the planning department, and I asked him what did go on at that meeting, and he said that Zamzow was there and it got approved. That's pretty much all I got out of him. So I wish I was there. I'm disappointed that I missed that meeting because the planning meetings are the people that decide, what fits and what doesn't fit. You're just giving them zoning variances. So, I mean, the way I've been looking at what's happening in the city recently, North Quincy, the 600 units we're putting there, what Fox Rock is doing across the street from Starbucks, what we're doing down in Quincy Center, what we're doing everywhere, this is not big at all compared to those projects. This is new growth that we desperately need within the city. This is a direction that Mayor Koch has chosen to go in. We're developing. It's kind of like the city right now is sort of like a real estate hedge fund, and we're just developing as many units as we possibly can because we need that new growth to pay the new taxes. We have so much debt that we need this new growth. Do I think this is the best thing for this project? Would I like to see it be smaller? Would I have liked to see the one up at Hospital Hill be smaller, which is right in my neighborhood? We need that one in Hospital Hill because we need the new growth. We need this new growth to pay for the taxes. So unless everybody wants their taxes to skyrocket, we can't stop the new growth that's happening within the city.
John, get to your
The
point.
developer, well,
We got a lot of people here.
the point is that out of all the projects that come up, this is one of the better ones. And out of the dense developments that we've seen in Wollaston, that we've seen on Hancock Street, that we've seen all throughout the city and stuff. So
wrap it up.
I just don't understand why it's such a witch hunt in individual cases, and some cases absolutely nobody cares about, okay? If people want to, I don't want to divide. I'm not against all the people.
John, this is specific to this case.
No, but I'm not against these people in this room. I'm not being paid by anyone to be here. I've been to hundreds of meetings. I may have been to 1,000 meetings, okay? And I'm under duress, and I'm under stress, okay? And I cannot handle what's going on in the city more than anyone else in this room, okay? But what are we going to do? The only thing we got to do is have new people run for city council and have a new mayor. But until that happens, this is what we're left with. We need the new growth. We have over $1 billion in debt right now. And that new growth that, the DIF is paying for itself, that's not true. The taxpayers are being subsidized by the DIF. We are paying for the new growth. Every time we have new growth, it's negative new growth.
I got it.
Enough is enough.
John, Wrap it up. You're in favor? Good. Thank you.
I'm in favor of this project, I am, thank you.
Thank you, John. Further, anyone else in favor? No, you can't speak twice, John. We'll call that part of the hearing closed. Third call? Done. Any correspondence? Any new correspondence, I should say. It's probably like 50 pages, no? Oh.
August 10th, 2022, we've reviewed and provided comments for this project to the planning board. All the comments provided have been addressed properly. We do not have any further comments for ZBA at this time.
That's, when's the date on that?
These are all from before.
I know, were they put in before? This is new, this is new. That was put in?
Anything dated 2022
That's,
is
there's
new.
no date on it. There's, oh,
Yeah, it says August
16th.
16th,
Okay.
so that was, this is a week, that's new.
A lot of these people are probably here.
Well,
What do you want to
just,
do?
just count the numbers
Okay.
and,
Why don't you come back to me?
huh?
Why don't you come back to me in a second?
All right, I think it, yeah. I have another letter here, today. It says, to Kathy Noonan, Barbara Campbell, email message, please enter our opposition to the project on 105 C Street, Barbara and Paul Campbell, 13 Calvin Road, Quincy. So I don't know if they're here or not, plus,
You want me to read these?
yeah, just the letter and how many people.
Sure.
You'll be there all night.
No, there's multiple letters. Letter represents opposition. Eastbound commuters on C Street, former China Star, sit on a blind curve to the major Quincy Shore Drive intersection, of which C Street converted to a single lane, with the architectural renderings do not reflect. As a former reservist at the NRC, and like DPW and QPD Station 1, a detail is required to allow vehicles egress onto the highly congested C Street during afternoon commutes. Our concerns include traffic, pedestrian safety, disregard for traffic management, adjacent salt marsh green space, uptick in home larcenies, and setting up of new ZB precedent for future PB and ZBA boards. Vehemently oppose the ZB variance and respectfully request that the city reconsider the variance decision in accordance with all Quincy zoning board bylaws, signed by 28 people. I got Kathy Kenny from 39 Overlook Road. Go on record as opposing 3-story, 24-unit residential building to replace Imperial Terrace. Increased traffic cut through Overlook Road would likely be used for parking overflow by 105C guests. That's 105C Street guests. I've lived on Overlook Road for 47 years and witnessed many accidents on this dangerous intersection. Sharon Kelly, 10 Seaport Drive, Quincy, Mass. I oppose the variance for 24 units. No address. Lisa Gini, 71 Pontiac Road, opposition, no additional. Nancy Krause, 87 Assabet Road. My biggest concern is the size of the project and potential impact it would have on the traffic. The turn onto C Street will be difficult, and if cars go left, it will block traffic and increased chance of accidents. Also approved concerns on other projects on C Street. Teresa Sheehan, 24 Moreland Road. Like to express my opposition to the project. It's already a congested area. I have concerns with cut-through traffic, which is already an issue off C Street and Quincy Shore Drive into the neighborhood. Lot is zoned for 6 units, so how is a project proposed for 24 units? Many neighbors in the neighborhood have expressed strong opposition to this project. I hope the zoning board takes into account the opposition. Patricia Kelly and Christine Cody, 297 C Street.
Opposed? So zoning laws are there to protect, we understand their exceptions. Neighboring communities come out in full force to state their opposition. We believe the voices of the citizens should be heard. We're not asking the zoning board not to approve any reasonable replacement, building a lot to replacement. We want our neighborhood to thrive, but the scale of this project is too large for the current lot. Since the developers want to build on this lot, they should do so within the boundaries of zoning. CC's traffic is a major concern. By allowing significant variance, you're setting a precedence. Eileen Savage and Michael Savage, 105 Samoset Ave. Opposed, again, 49 years in this area. It's difficult traffic area to get out of morning traffic just to drive into the Quincy Public Works, Fox and Hounds. Why challenge with more cars? We have too many apartment complex. Eleanor Fox, 141 Samoset Avenue, opposed. I don't know why everybody's getting this 6-unit condo. It's zoned for 6-unit condo. Not only would an oversized building cause many problems, including traffic and insufficient parking for guests and deliveries, students attending the crowded Marymount School, there's a much more serious problem that could be caused, precedents for future development. Strongly urge the board.
More volume and expression.
What's that?
Could you read it with more volume and expression? A little passion.
I mean, they're all the same things, that's why it's like, no address, no address. No, I'll start crying. Jana Mulkern, 54 Virginia Road.
Come on, passion, brother.
I'm looking for it. Valid concerns regarding negative impacts to traffic, parking, safety, further school overcrowding, setting a precedent. I'm urging the board to use whatever judicious powers you have to listen to our pleas, reflect the weight of our concerns, and deny this permit, no matter how much support our city elected officials have for it. Janine and Graham King, 14 Neponset Road.
We should ask them if they were here.
Well, we can do that after. Suitability of the size of proposed area is totally inappropriate due to current high density. Many variances been requested with no stated reasons. Lack of communication to abutters neighborhood by the developers. Lack of impact studies regarding traffic and the ability to exit and make a left turn on the currently high-dense highway, which currently requires stopping all traffic as a police detail so that police cars can exit. Areas near a marsh doesn't need approval by the EPA. The appearance of impropriety due to close ties to the current administration. The scheduling of the previously related meeting the same day as the mayoral cookout, thus impacting resident participation in the meeting. The negative precedent approval sets for future projects, especially on C Street. The lack of feedback to the current proposal by our neighborhood elected representatives. The appearance, whether based in reality or not, that a democratic, ethical process has not been followed. Thank you for your response and respect. No address that I see. No address that I see. I'm sorry, if there's no address listed, we can't read into the record, so I apologize if somebody sent something in with no address. But unfortunately, that's our rules. Kevin and Taryn Geary, 10 Samoset Ave. We respectfully request that you deny the variances sought at 105 C Street. No logical reason or legal entitlement to justify in granting the owner of the property leniency in relation to our current zoning ordinances. No hardship. We ask you to please to hold 105 C Street project to the 6-unit building as it's zoned for.
They must have appropriate parking, locations poor for a building of this size. The danger in the curve in the road is undeniable. Most certainly, there will be grave consequences if overflow parking ends up on Overlook and there are pedestrians trying to cross in the dead of night. I do not exaggerate in telling you that we've personally spoken to hundreds of members of this community presently run an opposition group to this project, and also with hundreds of members. The voice of the neighborhood is loud and clear that the project does not fit. Janine McGinnis, 12 Victory Road, oppose. Lawrence Gray and Lorelei Wallace, 56 Lawnwood Road. Objection to the variance. Several planning board meetings to voice my objections to the project as originally scoped. While some accommodations have been made to scale the project down, it still seems inadequate for a building complex that large. My specific concerns following the consistent issues raised with the planning board, traffic and pedestrian, overflow parking, unaesthetic appeal of something oversized, impact to the property values, potential that would lead to further development in adjoining sites. No address. Christopher Fox, 141 Samoset Ave.
He's here.
He's here?
Yeah.
Are you going to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No address. These two are no address. This has no address either. Again, if you have no address and you're here and you can feel free to come up and speak. If you sent in an email, it's just, we can't read it into record without address.
All right, one more letter here from Councilor Lodge.
From Councilor Liang. First and foremost, I offer my regret that I'm not able to attend this evening's ZBA. Please accept my letter as notice of my opposition. In your consideration of this application, I wanted to highlight the issues that have been expressed and brought to my attention. Numerous residents who have expressed concerns on the size, potential impact on flooding, traffic, parking in an already congested area. I raise these issues in hopes that the board will reconsider during your deliberations, and a negative impact would be most unwelcome in the area. I respectfully consider all these concerns during your deliberation.
All right. That's our correspondence. Call us out of hearing closed. Anyone opposed or undecided, please step forward.
We gotta swear them in the record too.
Yeah. If anyone's going to speak tonight, before we go anywhere, I want you to raise your right hand. I guess if you're not an attorney, raise your right hand. If you could, Mr. Chin, swear in the people. If you don't raise your hand, you can't speak.
Everyone who's seen
Please take an oath.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now in hearing? Thank you.
And in the interest of time, can you guys line up the next, get in line as you go and go through the process as expeditiously as possible?
With the motion.
Yeah, with a motion. I'm sure they're gonna have a motion. I do.
Name and address for the record, please.
Pam Brennan, 65 Dickens Street.
Hey, can we keep it down? Sorry. Go ahead, Pam, sorry.
Pam Brennan, 65 Dickens Street, Quincy.
No, it's not. There is no microphone in here. That is for
It's just
the
pretend.
TV.
No, it's for TV. They'll hear
So
you
if
clearly.
everyone relaxes and quiet and let everyone speak, we can hear. If you want to talk, please go outside.
Go ahead, Ms.
I'm opposed to the project, but a couple of questions. These renderings, we couldn't see it from the audience. Also, I can't see where the drainage and the overflow, and I can't tell where the other buildings are in placement or where the back parking lot is closer to the marsh area. I'd like to understand all of that better and like how the runoff is going to be. I know we're in a drought now, but we won't always be in a drought. And I am concerned about the parking in the back closer to the saltwater marsh back there, especially where they're going to be doing construction and doing a parkway, I guess, or a walkway. So there'd be concerns about that also. But I'll let everybody else speak because I know they have other comments. But
Okay.
that wasn't really specified.
I'll have him give it one more quick time when we get done.
Yes, sir. Name and address for the record, please.
Mike O'Connor, 60 Highfield Road. Do I understand correctly that there was green space that was on the side of the building, but then put on the roof of the building, and now that's been eliminated with this plan as of today?
He took off the deck and he moved the upstairs deck to the front.
But the green space was supposed to go to the deck, and now that's gone, so that is still
It's
not up
right
to
down,
code.
it's down below, it's throughout the whole side of the project, the front of the project.
Does it comply with
The
zoning?
top's gonna have all solar on the top of the building.
So does that green space comply with the zoning?
Yes.
Okay. I have 6 bullet points. First is, I hope that this project isn't viewed in a vacuum, as one building on a piece of paper. In the real world, we still have to contend with the development that's going on at the police station, for the father bills. All of these projects are already underway. And this really does need to be considered in that context. Number 2, it's simply too big. It's precisely the reason why zoning laws are intended, or what they're for, is to prevent just this type of development from going through. The developer has never really expressed a single reason why they need so many units. They've never claimed and demonstrated a hardship. Number 3, it's been said a lot, but it's worth repeating, is it will set a precedent. And I think the people of the neighborhoods would stand with the zoning board and not want to see the zoning board placed in a position where these projects just keep coming and coming at you. So I think, that alone is a reason for this to be denied. Public safety's never been addressed. A lot of times in these meetings, people come in and say, hey, we've addressed your concerns. And then they talk, but they don't enumerate how they've mitigated the safety issues. And there's a lot of them. Not the least of which is the need for a uniformed officer just to help the shifts at the police station exit the parking lot. Same with the Navy base, or naval office. And that exists now. That is the issue we have today. This will only make the problem worse. And there's never been any mitigation for that. Even now, people that park across from Grumpy's in the morning to go in and use the gym are parked with 2 wheels up on the sidewalk because the road's too narrow and they don't want to get sideswiped. They're going out to the gym in the morning, supporting a local business, and it's chaos now. And a precedent that this sets will make that even worse. I had a question about if a fire truck is able to make a right-hand swing into this, given the size of that driveway.
Yep.
Okay. The Beals and Thomas peer review is complete, provides a lot of recommendations, and has a couple of areas where they've deferred judgment. So we'd like to know who is monitoring that and how we can monitor that. And there's been a lot of talk about noticing in public meetings. It hasn't been easy, to say the least. That's all I'll say on that, because I know it's been said. And lastly, I want to read a quote, and the quote is, "It's just so frustrating sitting on my end and seeing these things that we're trying to build. And it's like we've got 9 million apartment buildings we're building out here. And on these suburbs, we're jamming in all these little houses just to make everything we can make on every piece of grass. We just can't keep doing this. It's just not fair to the people that live in the city." And that was Chairman Akins.
That's right.
January 25th ZBA meeting, YouTube video, 37 minutes and 19 seconds in.
I'm Mary Jane Larkin, and I live at 1337 Quincy Shore Drive. I'm 3 blocks up from C Street. I have been in this home for 80 years, and I have seen in the last 10 The traffic on Quincy Shore Drive has become a nightmare. The speed limit from that stretch of the Fox and Hounds down to Furnace Brook Parkway is 30 miles an hour. The traffic goes 40, 50, and even 60 miles an hour every single day. On Squanto Road, there's a traffic light. They run the red light daily. I see it, I sit on my front steps and I watch in amazement. Squanto Road is the cross street for the children to go to the Marymount School. It's also the cross street for me to get across my own street. I live in fear of getting hit every time I do it. And I think the parents of these children feel the same way. It is absolutely incredible. It's supposed to be monitored by the state police. They don't have the personnel to do it. They've told me that themselves. So nobody monitors it. It's the Wild West. And it's just going to get worse. It is horrible. Somebody is going to get hurt. And I just don't want it to be me. So I really hope you'll think twice about approving this project, aside from the fact that it is destroying the residential character of the city of Quincy. I mean, all this building and congestion is really detracting from the residential feeling of the city. Anyway, please think about it.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Christopher Fox. I live at 141 Somerset Avenue in Quincy. I'm here in opposition to this project. As you already heard, the construction happening with the Public Works building, or this new public facility, Father Bill's, the traffic conditions. One of the things I want to talk about is also the people not here today, the future occupants, who don't know how hard it is to turn onto C Street, who are going to be forced to do U-turns down C Street, whose kids are not going to fit into the space at the schools. They're not here to speak for themselves. The neighbors are speaking to you for them, as well as their own concerns. Imagine you just paid $500,000 for one of these units and found out you can't take a left-hand turn to go into downtown Quincy. You got to travel down into the further part down towards the neck. Think about that. If you're a new homeowner who just bought your first property and there's no space for your kid to attend school, they're going to sit in the library because there isn't room in the school. Think about you are the new homeowner who just bought one of these top floor level units, expecting an amazing view. You're going to have your friends over for 4th of July or Flag Day, and there's nowhere for them to park. So they're going to park on Samoset. They're going to park on all the neighborhood areas because there's not space to accommodate everyone, because we all have people coming to our houses too. The people who haven't purchased these units, they're the ones you should also be thinking about, not just our complaints, but the future complaints about how hard it is to live there, how difficult it is to get out and to get in, how unsafe it could be from time to time. What's it going to be like for their kids? What's it going to be like for their parents? A lot of people are going to be spending a lot of money buying these properties. And who's going to speak for them after they've bought it? That's a big problem. Lastly, I just want to say in conclusion, I'm very disappointed that I missed the hearing that was just had by, I believe it was the city planning. I would have been there to speak with my neighbors who would have been there, and again, speak on behalf of the future occupants of this building. Now, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to ask questions. I've heard that this plot is only allowed 6 units. Is that correct or incorrect?
Incorrect.
How many, what's the maximum number they're allowed without a variance?
It's changed. Mr. Duke, explain from changing from residential, commercial, residential.
I believe by right they could build 7 units.
They can build 7.
I haven't done a study, but that's what I do when they come.
So whether it's 6 or whether it's 7, it should be no more than 6 or 7. There's no hardship, there's no necessity. I think the profits that can be made on 6 or 7 developments, units, is more than enough for the investment they made to buy the land. And having all of us live with that mistake after the fact, and then selling these units to people living with those mistakes is not fair to anyone in the city, except the developer gets to leave with their pockets full. We deal with this. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joe Murphy, 18 Macy Street. Just a few points. You're going to see a theme develop, I think, as the speakers come up.
Well, if we could have, I don't want everyone here to keep repeating the same things.
It's a theme in development.
Well, the theme in
Mr. Akins,
development,
I
I'm
promise.
just letting you know what we're
Having
talking
all
about.
the outgoing traffic turn right, some of the problems to the neighbor, you're just kicking the problems to the neighborhood streets where kids are playing and cars are parked. So you're trading.
All right, whoa. We're gonna do this all night. We're gonna clap and not let people speak.
So
We're
you're
gonna clear
trading-
it. I'm
Oh, sorry.
talking right now. Thank you. Let's chill out, everyone. If you wanna give a clap or two at the end quick, that's great. We're gonna be here forever. Let everyone speak. People have other things to do too. Go ahead.
So you're trading one mess for another by kicking that everyone right. And I found out, the gentleman before mentioned that officers have to direct traffic out of the police station. I found out that that is actually in a city union contract, that the officer's out there. That's how bad it is, that they actually have to write it into their contract to have police help people leave the police station at 4:30. Now, I doubt that it's going to be in the plans that there's an officer letting people come in and out at rush hour for this building. And I've seen no hardship to allow such a diversion of our laws, which were crafted by our representatives. I see no hardship that just justifies ignoring the obvious will of the neighbors and citizens, because I've seen nobody speak in favor. I understand at least 2 city councilors have written in opposition. I see at least 2 here that I believe are in opposition. And I see no hardship which justifies the inevitable accidents and misery that will come from this project. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Hey, is it okay?
with enthusiasm.
Yeah, indeed.
But you need to
Is it
speak
okay?
into the mic so we can hear you on TV.
Okay. Could I turn it because I feel like I can't.
You really gotta face us so you can talk to us, please, I guess, go ahead, whatever.
Okay, thank you. So, my name is Molly McDonald Long. I live at 28 Wampatuck Road. I have abridged my comments. You're welcome. My concerns regarding the 7 variances requested for 105 C Street begin and end with safety. If the developers did in fact live in our neighborhood, they too would be deeply concerned by the crash data, which shows numbers like 51 car crashes in the area of Imperial Terrace in a 2-year span. That's not even the most recent. Those numbers are worse. Until you have, as I have seen, a vehicle flip over right in front of my eyes on C Street. This might not feel to you like life and death, but when you've just been walking along the sidewalk of C Street and a car like a whale has flipped backwards in front of you, it feels life and death. We have children who, this isn't third world, they should be, and even in the third world, they should also be safe to walk on streets. So it's the safety issue. I'm also concerned about a certain amount of tone deafness here. This audacious process with these variances, they're just trying to wear us down. Maybe because we're working class. Maybe because they know people have to go to work and can't always make a 6 o'clock meeting. And they're just going to wear us down. Because at the end of the day, it's about one thing for them. And it isn't safety. Unfortunately for them, it is money. But if Mr. Timmons works within the law, he can build 6 dwellings. They'll be beautiful. And he'll make plenty of money. And if he doesn't, he can come have dinner at our house. We'll stretch it. No problem. He could still make a healthy profit. He can build 6 high-end dwellings, and we'll all be able to sleep at night because it will be better for everyone, even and perhaps especially Mr. Timmons.
I'm Joe Cody from 297 C Street. I don't want to repeat what everyone's been saying, so I shortened my list. But there's one thing I did want to repeat, and that is precedent. There's going to be a growth. Yeah, we need growth. We're going to have a growth in cars. We're going to have 2 cars per household, and I don't understand the 0.3 guest spots per household. Will this necessitate a traffic light addition or change at some point in the future after there's problems and trouble? Or how about a rotary at the intersection of Quincy Shore Drive and C Street so people can turn around and go to the train station? And we heard a lot about drainage, but that's rain drainage. What about snow drainage? We live in the Northeast. What problems will arise from snow that we haven't foreseen or discussed? And how will a fire truck get through in the snow? That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I am Kristen Healy. I live at 30 Chickatawba Road. I've lived in Quincy for about 13 years, but my family's owned that house for about 100. I have 3 children that wander the neighborhood aimlessly every single day. They have 2 rules. One of those rules is don't go in the ocean. The other one is don't go on C Street. They can't go on C Street because people are flying between that stretch of road. So between, I would say, the police station down towards the neck, it's excessively fast. My 13-year-old son in general, significant pushback because he wants to be able to go out and ride bikes with his friends. He can't do that. As my neighbors have mentioned as well, as I significantly worry about the inability to turn left coming out of there and the overflow traffic into those neighboring streets where my children play every day. But not just my children, but a lot of the children from the community hang out in front of my house every single day. I would say on average between 15 and 20 children are at my home either playing basketball or street hockey or out front, and one of us has to be out there because of the traffic. We also had to install cameras just so we could monitor the speeding people kind of coming down the street, and that's a real issue. Kids are not aware. They're riding their bikes down the street, and it's not okay for them to have to consistently worry about the speeding traffic. And I know a previous neighbor had mentioned about the people that are buying those units. They don't live here now. They haven't lived in Marymount forever, and they don't know what it's like to be part of that community. 6 units is more than enough to provide an equitable profit. I think it's inappropriate, at best, to allow for the number of units that have been requested to date. As much as I love solar panels in green space and plans for runoff, again, inappropriate at best to be able to do that. In closing, I also recently had a very significant fire at my home, during which point in time a fire truck came to my house. We had neighbors that were parked on both sides of that road. I live on Chickatawba, but it's a wide enough street to be able to accommodate for those things, particularly in the warmer months. We did have to go and ask each one of our neighbors to move their cars so the fire truck could get in and put that out. They sent 6 fire trucks to our home that night. If we have additional traffic traveling down that road, people parking on Chickatawba and the neighboring roads, whether that's Samoset, whether it's Pontiac, those roads surrounding the Marymount area, it's going to be prohibitive to allow those emergency vehicles to be able to ingress and egress to provide those emergency services. Just anecdotally, I am also an avid hockey parent. If you've ever played hockey at Quincy Youth Hockey, you've come out of that hockey rink and you cannot see. So when you come out of there and you're on the hill and you're coming up and there's a line of traffic of parents waiting to come out, you can only go right because you're going to kill yourself going left. But people still go left, and people are going to try to go left out of that exit point every single day. When you're trying to commute, it takes me now, I work full-time, my husband works full-time, it takes me 30 minutes to get anywhere in Quincy to Quincy. Leaving Chickatobit to get to the highway takes me at least 20 to 30 minutes every single day. Coming home, now that that light is prohibitive and you have to turn left in those two left-hand turn lanes, I have to wait for the lane that goes straight, the lane that's going to be the ingress and egress of that apartment complex. And again, inappropriate at best. So I would ask for you to reconsider the motions that have been made here and just filter it down a little bit to 6 and 7 units. That is more than enough for everybody. It's more than enough for Quincy. And just, I hadn't seen this agenda until I came here tonight. Every single item on here is about expansion. And I agree with the gentleman who makes different points about it is about expansion. It's not just about this one project. Every single item on here, multifamily, splitting a lot, adding condos. The only one that's not in here is a playroom on Prey Street. Everything is about expansion. And where do we draw the line? And when do we say enough is enough? The neighborhoods are the neighborhoods, and let's keep it moving forward. The drain on the schools is excessive, and we can't take any more kids at Marymount School. It's already overworked and overburdened with students, never mind special education services, the amount of teachers that we have here. We have to make better choices, not just for now, but for the people that are coming, the children. Again, my home is a generational home. I don't want my kids to live in Quincy surrounded by apartment complexes. That's absolutely ridiculous. I want to live in Marymount. I want to live in a residential neighborhood where my children can roam the streets without a threat of somebody going 50 down a residential road because they want to get home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm speaking on behalf of my parents. My name is Paula Murphy. The home is located at 126 C Street, directly across from the Fox and Hound.
Paul, what's your address?
My address, it's 1187 Commercial Street in Weymouth. 1187 Commercial Street in Weymouth. So my parents' home is at 126 C Street in Quincy. So we're kind of late to the game in this because my father passed last August. He was very sick for a year. And so we were highly involved in that. My mother is still there. She has lots of care. And so we're just concerned about, everyone else has said up to this point, great points, spot on, the size of this complex. And they've been there for 46 years. And seeing the difference, I've been gone for years, but being back with my dad and taking care of him, you know, just the amount of traffic, as the woman earlier had said, and the safety. What no one's brought up, which is interesting, not everyone, you know, has cars, or most of these people will have cars, but a lot of people choose to commute. So the bus stop, which was recently C Street was done over, and the bus stop was located in front of my parents' house. You know, it's already, you know, we used to make the joke growing up, you're kind of dodging cars. I even see people now, you know, it's great that you want them to cross at the lights and they finally put something there, but what is going to be done? Is there any kind of crosswalk? What, you know, for these people that are going to commute, where is the bus stop going to be located? Are they going to move it? How will these people get across the street? Was one thing, and then the overflow parking, and people do cross on park on Overlook Road, which is directly across and next to my parents' house, and it's a very narrow road. So what will happen there? And so I just want them to take into account these things going forward, because, you know, it's a safety issue. It's always a safety issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I can have your attention, it's going to take 5 minutes, and we'll get right back.
Got those old bladders up there.
Yeah. a minute. The people out there want to come in? I know some counselors out there, lawyers, they could bring them in.
Eddie?
Just so everyone knows, this meeting's gonna be a long time, and just for the people that are on the end of this agenda, that don't wanna wait till 10 o'clock or whenever we're gonna get to you, if you wanna move it, I'm gonna give you a chance now to move you to another meeting. You don't have to hang here until all the people that wanted to speak on those projects too.
They already had to wait for the last.
You know,
All right,
you
John,
know what?
thanks, John.
John, so if this goes on for 2 more hours, I'm gonna give him a shot. Do you mind? Thank you, John. You're welcome. Let's start at the end of this. William Knuff, 110 Sonoma Road. Huh?
I saw that.
He is, he's the counsel.
Do you want to wait? Yeah, okay.
Okay. 200 Adams Street. You wanna move it, or you wanna wait the night out?
Lee? Edward and Lisa Lee?
You could be sleeping somewhere. C Street Properties, 1092 C Street. Hello, C Street Properties, are you here?
I think Miss Lee stepped out.
I'll give him another chance.
I'm gonna go out and ask her.
No, I think he's calling his client. He just told me he was talking to someone else too. I don't know. But, Franklin Ave, 0 Franklin Ave.
We'll wait.
Okay. 28 Mears Ave. Okay. 138 School Street. Do you want to wait, or do you want to move this to the next meeting?
We'll wait.
Okay? A lot of people with patience here tonight.
It's the same, it's just,
19 Prey Street.
he's gonna wait, it's the same applicant.
What? You want to wait?
Yes.
Jim Burke, 25 Shannon Street.
We'll wait.
Okay. There's, one left.
My kids this kind of
And he-
patience.
Oh, I just got it.
Missed the call for 1092.
Yeah,
C Street.
I was gonna.
Yeah,
call
I've
you
spoken with my clients, and I think our preference would be to move it to the next meeting date, if that would be
September 13th.
acceptable to the board. Yes. Thank
I have a
you.
motion for September 13th
Gave
for
him those billable
22/8.
hours, huh?
I'm trying to save them money.
ZBA 22-8, C Street Properties LLC for a variance special permit floodplain special permit to remove the commercial structure, build a new 4-unit residential building with parking on the premise number 1092 C Street, Quincy. Make a motion to move that to 9/13. Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Thank you very
And there's one more I have here. Who's here for 201 Copeland Street? Is there anyone here that wants to testify?
Mr. Chairman, I'm the architect of that project. I believe it was built in September.
Well, it wasn't yet. What I do is I have a note here underneath all the stuff when we're getting into it. That's why I'm calling you. So you're gonna move that to the 25th, I believe, 27th.
27th, yes, sir.
September 27th, okay.
Mr. Chairman, ZBA 21-101 Copeland Street LLC variance for, to construct a 3-story, 8-unit multifamily structure with incorporated parking on the premise number 201 Copeland Street, Quincy, and make a motion to move that to 9/27.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So moved. Back to business 105. Next.
Thank you for your patience.
My name is Michelle Connolly, and I live at 32 Wampatuck Road. Can everybody hear me? No? Members of the zoning board, I'd like to recap for you the long and often confusing series of events that have brought this matter back before you tonight. On August 12, 2021, the property located at 105 C Street was sold with a recorded price of $1,350,000. The owner of record is JVC C Street LLC, and the managers filed with that LLC are James S. Timmons and Christopher J. Timmons. On October 12, 2021, this matter came before you as new business. for a 24-unit project and was assigned ZBA number 21-75. There had been no public meetings. The applicant did not appear, and instead Mr. Akins read into the record a written request to continue the hearing until October 26th. Mr. McCarthy spoke about the need for a community meeting. There were numerous community members in attendance via Zoom. On October 20th, 2021, a community meeting was held at the Fox and Hound, attended by many community members ready to hear more about the project and voice their concerns to the developer. October 26, 2021. The matter came before you again as old business as a 24-unit project. The petitioner requested a continuance with the urging of Ward Councilor McCarthy so that another community meeting could be held. The continuance was granted to November 23rd. A second community meeting was held in early November. On November 23rd, 2021, once again this matter was before you with plans having been hand-delivered to Mr. Akins earlier that day as there wasn't time to email them. Those plans called for 21 units. Mr. Akins, you suggested to Mr. Carroll and Mr. Timmons that they might want to request another continuance as you and the other board members had not been provided enough time to review the plans and prepare. After some hesitation, Mr. Carroll and Mr. Timmons took that advice and the matter was continued to December 14th, 2021. Councilor Mahoney did take a moment to state for the record that she believed that projects of this size routinely go to the planning board before zoning, and questioned that while there was no questioned why there was no regulation requiring it. Why was this large-scale development project with so much opposition allowed to present to the zoning board without a planning review and a traffic assessment? On December 14th, 2021, just a few days before Christmas, this matter finally came before you with a packed house of residents in virtual attendance via Zoom. The applicant and his architect presented their plans for now a 21-unit project. The traffic study contracted with the former Quincy traffic engineer, Jack Gillen, hired by the applicant, barely managed to conclude that traffic would not be any worse than it was when the restaurant was in operation, and also alluded to some existing safety concerns. Again, safety still comes up. After numerous citizens spoke in opposition in this meeting, the board members voted unanimously to send the applicant to the planning board to weigh in on the project and continue the ZBA hearing until March 22nd, 2022. On a side note, ZBA board member Brian Radell, who chaired the contentious meeting, did an excellent job of maintaining order and allowing everyone to be recognized and heard. We thank you for that. On April 13th, 2022, this matter came before the planning board as an initial public hearing for a 20-unit project. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m., and the chair opened the 105 C Street matter at 7:58 p.m., according to the meeting minutes, nearly 2.5 hours after the meeting began. Once again, the meeting was packed with citizens exercising their right to hear more about the project and voice their opinion. Attorney Chris Carroll introduced Josh Fetterman as the applicant. Josh Fetterman had not been introduced previously, nor since as a principal or manager of the project. It is unclear what his role is or why Chris Timmons did not represent on his behalf of his project. After well over an hour and a half of discussions and public comment, Councilor Mahoney stated that according to her calculations, the by right allowable use was a 6-unit residential development, that the project is too big for the site, that the applicant has not demonstrated a hardship, and they are seeking too much relief. She also stated that the applicant's communication with the neighborhood was inadequate and has not addressed their concerns about traffic, parking, and safety. Councilor McCarthy stated that the project was headed in the right direction, but the concerns still remained and that the project could still be revised to reduce the size and address the concerns of the neighbors. The meeting minutes indicate that the planning board debated whether the continuance should be next month or 2 months out. The motion was made and approved to continue the matter until June 8th, 2022. On June 8th, 2022, the matter was before the planning board as a continued public hearing. According to the meeting minutes, the meeting was called to order at 5:30, and the matter of 105 C Street was brought forth at 6:33 p.m. After dozens of community members waited over an hour for the matter to be called, Deputy Director Rob Stevens read a request for a continuance into the record. No representative for the project was present, nor were they required to waste an hour of time with their families and other obligations to make the request. The motion to continue the matter to August 3rd was approved unanimously. We go to August 3rd, 2022. The planning board met with this matter as a continued public hearing again. It is unclear why the meeting was held on the first Wednesday of the month when all other planning board meetings are held on the second Wednesday of the month. It was also the first meeting held in person and not on Zoom. The change from a virtual to in-person public meeting was not widely communicated. It was also held in direct conflict with Mayor Koch's beloved annual community cookout. The meeting minutes from that meeting are not yet available to the public, but the one community member who attended said Councilor McCarthy voiced his support for the project, and the matter closed without any further public input. So in closing, as you can see, members of the zoning board, this has not been an open and transparent process. It has been a challenge to follow what the applicant is proposing and when. The final meeting of the planning board is hardly an endorsement that the public has had the opportunity to participate in the process. The end result is the project has been reduced from 24 to 18 units, but the traffic, safety, and parking issues have not been resolved. We, the community members, the taxpayers, the voters in Quincy, urge you to reject this proposal outright tonight. The applicant has had more than their fair share of opportunities to come forth with a plan that is reasonable and respectful of the concerns of the citizens in the time they have been afforded. If they are so confident in the project, they can appeal the decision through the court system. Should the project be approved, the citizens will most certainly and definitely appeal the decision, and the city solicitor will need to recuse himself from the city's defense of the decision. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Name and address for the record.
Joe Connor, 62 Virginia Road.
Joe, you have the floor.
Yep, and I'll just start things off by saying I'm opposed to this project. Appreciate the time and the ability for the community to come in and talk to you tonight about our concerns. And I'll be brief, because you've heard from the neighbors. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what the concerns are. You know, we don't have a lot of qualms with the developers. I mean, they're just trying to make a buck. They're trying to build a project. That's what developers do. I think what we're trying to ask is the city for some reasonability in understanding what our concerns are before you start stamping approval on certain things. Primary concern is around safety. Yeah, that's what my concern is. You know, we had a meeting, Mimi just talked about it this winter. That meeting ended with this group indicating that it was opposed at that point, but there needed to be more planning and traffic studies done. We've been waiting anxiously for any results of that, and there's been nothing shared, right? So the concern we have around safety primarily is around, you know, entering and exiting that property. You've heard a lot about it today. I heard that there's going to be no left exit. I don't know how you enforce that, but if you're only taking a right exit, think about it. These people are leaving. They're going to work. They're coming home from work. That's when traffic is the heaviest on C Street. You cannot take a right out of that parking lot. If you're traveling to Boston, you can't even get in the left 2 lanes to take a left because they're already backed up 50 yards, 100 yards further back. They're going straight. And what they're going to do is what everybody else does. They come up and they take a U-turn at Ginger Betty's, and that's where a lot of accidents are, or they'll continue further up towards House Neck and take a left and cut right through our neighborhood. And it's the degradation of safety within the neighborhood and the overall family, community. Safety is the primary concern. One of the things we talked about at the last meeting from a planning board standpoint in the city was if we're going to identify this area as an area of potential growth, how do we address the traffic concerns? And there was somebody who came up with an outstanding idea about why don't we look about traffic egress and egress outside the back, right? Force traffic to come up through a light in and out of like where the hockey rink is. And I don't know if that's been decided yet or not, but that's something that the city needs to consider, particularly if you're looking to continue to develop C Street with more down the road. There needs to be a traffic plan, a traffic study, and a plan of attack before we're putting neighbors and citizens in dangerous situations in the neighborhood. And that's really what my concern is. Appreciate the ability to come in and talk to you tonight.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, everyone. Are you ready?
Name and address, please.
Carol Abbott, and I live at 91 Shore Ave now for over 46 years in the lovely city of Presidents. I know Marymount School is a great, great place to learn, and I just hope I can share a couple lessons that my child learned. One, the importance of no. N-O, it's a very, very simple word, and I think that you all really need to practice up on it instead of the three-letter word that you always seem to practice. Number two, I have, again, been here over 46 years. I've seen literally the crossing of C Street to become a life-threatening occurrence. And if you go to church, if you want to go walk to your dinner, when Grumpy Whites used to be there or when the Fox and Hound is there, you can't. You really can't cross. So again, I would just hope that you take into consideration what a beautiful city we have, what a beautiful neighborhood in Marymount we have, and that we really do need to preserve some of the peace and tranquility in Quincy. So I would hope you would not allow any more changes to this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing? Rob Russell, 9 Overlook Road. I oppose this project. Some of the big things people have already mentioned. Safety is a huge concern with the traffic out of there. I'm sure if people ever try to leave the Imperial Terrace when it was there, trying to take even a right-hand turn was challenging with the traffic coming around, zipping around C Street. I know myself, I walk to Quincy Center T-Station. I don't walk down C Street. I cut into the cemetery. It's that dangerous on C Street because people are just flying by. One other thing, I guess, clarification on parking spaces versus number of units. I know the 18 units, there was 32 bedrooms. Is there 46 parking spaces or 52?
46.
Okay, so that's 1.32.
46 about it.
It's by unit.
By unit, but each unit is going to have multiple bedrooms.
But as the code is written, it's by unit.
Yep. I guess the other thing, is there any kind of regulation as far as notification of within a certain distance of the property?
Yep,
Is that 1,000 feet?
300 feet.
300 feet, okay. And I guess, people have talked about this already. The development in Quincy is skyrocketing over the last 10 years, right? And I can see Grumpy Whites is going to be next on the list here. Another project, another development coming right towards you guys, adding more traffic to the neighborhood, causing issues with safety. And I guess we're just very concerned. Thank you for my time.
Appreciate that.
Hi, my name is Teresa DeBona from 20 Jewett Street.
My concerns are, I'm in opposition to this project due to more public safety. I know you've heard a lot about it, but I also have a high school child that is walking home, and hundreds of kids are walking home on the sidewalk from school. As long as the Marymount kids, there's people going to and from work, going to bus stops. My other concern is we changed the one lane going along C Street there. There's just one lane going into Housneck, Marymount, et cetera. They changed that. Before, there was 2 lanes. I don't know if that could be brought back with Grumpy's on the horizon and this project on the horizon to have more flow through to alleviate that. Would be something to consider. Also, the number of units is just too much. I know you've already heard this before, but if we could cut this down, it would be much more safety for our children, for all of us concerned. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, folks. My name is Dave DeBonner. I happen to live at 45 Turner Street, and that's in Housneck, if anybody remembers where that is. Marty? I am opposed to this for many reasons of all the safety factors that are involved. The traffic jam. Years ago, we used to cut through Marymount to get over to Walston Boulevard. It's a nightmare to leave Housneck. It's going to create much, much more problems. The other fact that I want to bring up, years ago, off the subject, the city of Quincy sued the MWRA Mass for polluting Quincy Bay. Have anybody looked at how much extra sewage that's going to be dumped into our overtaxed system? Thank you very much. I hope you vote this down tonight like somebody else mentioned. Thank you again.
Thank you.
How you doing? I'm David DeBona. I'm from 20 Jewett Street in Quincy. Can't really add much more than what everybody else has already said tonight, except that I definitely oppose this. I mean, I don't want to keep anybody longer than what we're already here. But again, I definitely oppose this, and it's all because of the safety and traffic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah Van Stan, 33 Virginia Road. We've heard from a lot of people who have lived here for decades, and I was hoping that my family would also be one of those people, but when I talked to a lot of the young families that couldn't be out here tonight, they said that we moved here to get away from this kind of thing in Boston, and we moved to Quincy because it provided our family a certain quality of life. So I am speaking to the future people who might move into this. You're thinking, oh, more Quincy families, we're going to get more. It's not. It's not going to be Quincy families. I'd be surprised if it was, because we're running from that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Lionel Andre, 48 Longwood Road. Nice to see you all again. You've heard me before. Congratulations on drawing such a crowd. Pretty sure it's not every meeting you have that kind of audience, except when it comes to 105 C Street, right? And yet here we are again, one more time. I live on Longwood Road. It's already used as a major cut-through for people cutting off that light on C Street, right in front of the Fox and Hound. People fly down Longwood Road as it is. This project will add more traffic, more risks for my kids. I'm also, by the way, one of those gym goers who does put 2 wheels on the sidewalk across from the old Grumpy Whites. I'm also very concerned about the precedent this project would set for Grumpy Whites, among others. It's not a good idea for the zoning board to approve this. I do wish I had a lot of new thoughts to bring to this conversation, because, you know, that's what I get for being one of the last few. Everybody who's smarter than me has gone before me. I do want to say, though, that all those variances, every single one of them are self-inflicted wounds. Profit does not make for hardship. Obviously, I oppose this project. I do hope that this board can take a hint from the audience, from the number of people who show up in opposition. I haven't heard one person speak in favor of it. Thank you.
Bill Zamzow, 356 Washington Street. Chairman Akins, you weren't here the last time when I spoke, and the gentleman that referenced the idea of doing access out of the back of this property was me. My suggestion was there is enough room between the hockey rink and the parking lots behind the Fox and Hounds and the apartment complex. In fact, per the GIS map, I looked at this more recently, those parking spaces look to go about 20, 30 feet into the city property line. Don't know how that happened. There must be an easement from long ago in a distant galaxy, but it's there. There's plenty of space. You do that, you let that property go out the back. You encourage the apartment buildings next door to do it. You encourage the restaurant to do that. And then, of course, Grumpy's is going to get redeveloped at some place, and you come out at the hockey rink. That also affords the opportunity to have overflow parking at the parking lot, the hockey rink. And at some point, the city could put signalization at that corner and rationalize the, I think it's Narragansett and Samoset intersection in front of that little park space. There's plenty of room. You move a few curb stones, you redo it, you get rid of that crazy five-corner intersection, and you get a light on C Street that provides a little traffic calming. I think you were covering that night for Marty. I'm not sure. You liked the idea and suggested that I bring it forward to the planning board. Well, planning board blew me off. Now, at that point, it also was made apparent that they were going to try to do this right turn only thing. And I suggested, wait a minute, guys, if you're going to do the right turn only exit, you need to extend that traffic island out there and said, oh, no, people don't bang U's on streets in Quincy. And I'm just looking at the chair and going, I don't know what you're smoking, but I didn't realize we had a recreational store in Quincy at this point. Then we had the whole way that meeting was done. Notice was sloppy. I will be filing an open meeting law complaint. They technically sort of kind of squeezed it through. But given the fact that the city solicitor is one of the partners in this project, it was too minimal. You got to be Caesar's wife for that. And the way that meeting was held, handled, and run doesn't rise to the standard of appropriate. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Well, and I will,
Marty, sorry, do you have a question?
No, I did write that down. I think it was Joe Connor that said that here.
Joe Connor said that earlier. I was the one that suggested it some months ago. You were, as I recall, not aware, and I think you were covering. I cannot remember the beard for some funny reason.
He was.
Oh, well, you've got one too. I'm old. I forget things.
We all have them after COVID.
Anyway, Marty, thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Patton. I live at 33 Norton Road, a lifetime resident of Marymount. I'm just wondering, why are we here? The area was zoned for 6 units, and now you're looking at building 21 units? I don't understand how that got approved to begin with.
It's not approved.
Well,
You can apply for anything. You can apply
it
for
seems to me you're putting, it's almost like putting a square peg in a round hole. I don't even believe this was to begin with. This was acceptable to even have a meeting with.
Anyone can come here for anything.
Okay, great. So if I plan on knocking down
Want a zoo next door?
Yeah, if I want to knock down my home and build a big, my land is bigger than this, and I have a one-family home. So I just think it's utterly ridiculous. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jana Mulcairn from 54 Virginia. I did have a letter. I know it wasn't all read, and I understand you had a lot. It's okay. But I did want to just make a point that I don't think really has been made. And it's really just a pleading with you to think in your good conscience. I know you are appointed by our elected officials. I do feel that our elected officials have let us down on this project. I do feel that we're just kind of being a little bit dismissed, and even as you read the letters, I have to respectfully just give some feedback that I felt that it was very dismissive, the tone of voice that was used and the tenor from all of you, the way we're being treated. We're here because we care about our community, and we don't want to see this happen. And so I guess the part of my letter that wasn't read just says, you know, I am not anti-development, okay? I can appreciate many of the wonderful improvements that have happened in our city over the past several years. But I'm not against all development. However, in this case, I'm just urging you to take time to really review the size and impact that we've all outlined 1,000 times over. I'm not going to summarize again. and really think carefully and judiciously. You are here as a quasi-judicial body, and I'm asking you to judiciously think of this, not just stamp of approval because I'm appointed by a city elected official, but really judiciously think about this and all that we've put into this and all that we care about. And then I ask you to make those decisions using your conscience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
So we have came to the end, Mr. DeBona?
Just follow the zoning laws.
Noel DeBona, Quincy City Councilor at Large, 70 Chickatobit Road, neighborhood right behind me. You know, over these last few months, I was thinking about, and going back on different subjects, the Hospital Hill development that happened a few years ago, and then the big thing was the Star of the Sea Church in Squantum, where they started off with 14 units, and they ended up, the developer ended up selling that property to 4 units, and one just sold for $2.25 million. It's something to consider. My main concern basically is the traffic and the public safety. The morning commute and the evening commutes coming out of that direction. Everybody has to deal with the traffic coming out of here, especially on C Street, because it's almost a one-way in and a one-way out, very similar to Squantum. A lot of us in this building right now go in that peninsula type of thing. Marymount is already a cut-through neighborhood, and the folks have reached out to me, and that's why I'm here tonight. A lot of the neighbors have reached out to me via email, phone calls, and in person. I'm here for in opposition. I know that the developer has worked from 32 to 24 to 21 to 20 to 18, but the folks and the residents still don't want it. So I just hope that you make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, please. Is there anyone else who wants to speak? No, I thought I saw someone said wanted to speak. The guy behind you, did you want to speak?
No.
Oh. All
I
right.
just said zoning laws were there. for a
Anyone
reason.
else want to speak before someone speaks for the second time? Counselor, you're up.
So, I didn't speak for the second time, but that's okay. And I am a counselor, so whether I want to speak one time or 100 times, I will take that
And you will
right.
be told by the rules, you have spoke once, you will speak for the second time.
When did I speak
You
once?
spoke earlier.
About a different project. Okay. So, here's the thing. We have zoning laws, and we created them about 10 years ago. The attorney who created them was here earlier. And it's a pretty cool thing that we have in Quincy. And when they're upheld, they are amazing. And 10 years ago, a project like this would never have been approved. Quincy has changed. Good development has come. There have been things that have come before your board that you have approved that I have also supported. This is one that I do not support. It's on 105 C Street. You have a community that has been engaged with you the whole time, asking for things to change. Only small incremental changes have happened. Going from 20 to 18 and coming before this board and saying that they have done it, they still need 7 variances. And the funny thing is I think one of the parts of the presentation, I'll look for clarification from the organization that has presented it before us. I believe what was said was Monday through Friday, we'll take a right-hand turn, like everybody would be forced to do. But then on the weekends, I guess when there's no traffic, we'll be allowed to take left-hand turns. I think that's what I heard. Now, I didn't realize that ZBA was also making those decisions as far as the rules of the road. But if we're going to have that happen before us and we say that's okay, then we're saying okay to all of the very safety initiatives that many people have stood up before us to talk about tonight. And the hardship. I had not heard once from the developer or the representatives as to what the hardship is that they need to build 18. It's nice that they came from 36 down to 18, but let's face it, if they were coming up from 6, they wouldn't get to 18. They might get to 7, or maybe 8. But 18 is just too many. So what I'd like to say also is, earlier in this evening, I did mention this, neighborhoods, because the ZBA and the rules that are being presented They're not being upheld. And neighbors are being forced to hire attorneys and to tell you that if this goes through, they'll take them to land court. If this goes to land court, it will win because there'll be no show of hardship, soil conditions, and all of the other things that you are supposed to uphold by what you're presenting. It's not just because a developer wants to develop something or because we're gung-ho to have Quincy have as many units as we possibly can have because we have such growth happening here. Smart growth is good, but just letting things happen is not. This is too big. It's too dangerous in the corner that it's at. The fact that the police station, although it will change, right now still has to have a police detail out in front of it, and so does Popeyes, by the way, on C Street, on Southern Artery. But the point of that is that it doesn't matter. It's the point that we have to have details in front of restaurants to have people come out because the traffic is so bad in this particular corridor of the area. Accidents are happening, and people are being traumatized by that, and the people who move in, that's a bigger problem, because I have seen development happen. As I said, I represent the whole city. Development that has been approved in North Quincy because it was near a designated transportation-oriented development, where the people who bought the condominiums at planning and at zoning, they were told that it would be a designated transit-oriented development, that they couldn't get permits to park on the street, but yet when they bought the condominiums, it wasn't part of their condominium rules. So the people who are moving into our community are not being treated fairly either because they don't know what's being approved or what the expectations are of them. But that's the rules that we have to set here. Those are the zoning rules that we have in front of us that are approved and created. And by the way, it is not the elected officials who appoint it. It's the administration. It's the mayor of the city of Quincy who appoints the board. And I have seen you do great work. And I'm asking you tonight to look past who this applicant is and do what's right for the community. You have 3 councilors at large that are saying no to this. That should be enough, as well as the hundreds of people who have been before you telling you that this is too big. 6 units is what they have the right to do. If they want to start at 6, that's where they should start, not at 36 and come down to 18 and pretend like they're doing us a favor, because they're not doing anybody a favor but their pocket. So please uphold the rules to the developer. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman, you want to say something? You're up.
Dave McCarthy, Ward 1, 48 Whitney Road. One thing that I just want to bring out, I know that Mrs. Mahoney and Mr. DeBonner and Councilor Yang, are in opposition. They do hard work, but they also come out when there's a hot one. And we got one hot today. Now, Jim Timmons and his team, his son sitting behind me and his partners, started out at 32. That never made it. We went to 24, we went down to 18. We had 2 good community meetings with the neighbors who voiced their opinion right off the bat: too big, traffic, parking. They worked it down to 18. If this doesn't go through, something eventually is going to go into that lot. Now, I know everybody wants it to be 6 units or 7 units, but something's going to get there. And the way I look at it, if it's a commercial entity that ends up there, talk about traffic. The China Star and the Imperial Terrace were there for 1 million years. No one worried about the traffic coming in and out of there. And there was some scary traffic that came in and out of the China Star. And it was always packed. You look at this here and you say to yourself, the residential, to me, slows everything down. These people go to work, they come back, they go in their garage. Most of the people that are in this place right here, no one will ever see. So when you're working in the ward and you hear every zoning meeting, which I am, and it's here for a deck or a garage or an 18 unit, you see it all here, what you guys do. And, there's decisions, tough decisions that have to be made on parcels. This is a very tough parcel. It's always been, it's shaped terribly. It has the marsh behind it. We talk about roads behind it. We'd be there for years with the environmental people if we're down in the marshland trying to put a road in. So it'd be years out. That would stay there, sitting there, blighted with all kinds of things inside it, which I don't want to see. I leave it to you guys tonight. I know the neighborhood is against it. I know they're not against development, and I know they want to have it very small. I don't know if very small would be robust enough to make that site look like it should. One of the big items, one,
Come on, come on, come on.
No
It's
one,
the counselor.
whoa, it's the
Okay.
council.
We're here every time.
Wait.
We do.
one of the things I found out is when we do some development and we don't put enough in there, that the site itself doesn't look right. It isn't robust enough. It isn't full enough. So when they get down to 18 units, and I'd like it to be a little smaller, I don't know about 6, and that's my opinion, you know,
Hey,
when we get
stay
down to
calm,
that,
guys. You know what? This is getting out of hand. If you speak again, you're out. You got it? Good. Enough. It's getting silly.
when you get
Show
down,
the council respect he deserves.
when you go
His
down,
ward.
when you go down, all right, I'll leave it up to the board.
Shut it down. Shut it down. We'll take it 5. People are out of control. blew my mind that we don't do that in Quincy. We don't. We go to any meeting, we let everyone speak. If they want to speak for a second time, after everyone else speaks, doesn't matter who you are, I don't care if you're the mayor. You won't speak a second time until everyone in this room was heard for the first time, then he can speak the second time. Those are the rules. Only fair. Everyone else gets to speak too. So those are the rules, and we just go by them, make sure everyone gets a piece, and someone don't come up here 2-3 times in a row and just hog that whole meeting. It could be for hours if you let it. So anyway, with that, we have to make some decisions tonight. There were some things I loved and I heard from you people, myself. Building a road going around back, because here's what I'm afraid of with that piece of property. Take me wrong or what? An office building would be probably 150 cars would be down there. Then what do we do? So do we try to make something work, something that's livable with everybody? And I get it. Maybe this ain't the right project. Maybe it isn't. But if you're gonna have Grumpy's coming here, and you're gonna have development there, and you got a road there, and if you have an access coming out of that building in the back, that would be an example to make everything work for everyone in that neighborhood. Because they could come out, take a left, take a right, go where they wanna go. Go up to your next light, do what you wanna do. And that never came in conversation. I mean, I heard it once, and I'm going, geez, I don't even know if it's that possible. Maybe it is possible. And I don't know if the developer ever looked at that. And that's a question I have for the developer. Did you ever look at that? Did you ever look at going out the back of there and trying to get on the road over by there so we could come out by the,
When we discussed with the Navy, they mentioned that they have a strip running directly behind our property
Yeah.
that they do not want us to cross or enter. So I don't know if that...
behind yours or in front of you?
Behind.
Bonnie, the other thing is, usually a piece of land like that, you need federal legislation to be able to use it. So, and that takes centuries. I used to deal with them all the time, and it's unbelievable to try to get it accomplished. Just to file it's a difficult possibility.
I guess that's out. One
Marty,
minute.
my proposal, and I have to come back against the statements just made. I've looked at the property lines, unless there's an easement on the city and that property thing in the backside, there is no naval blockage.
All right, we're not gonna sit.
Let me finish again, as I said earlier. It clearly appears from the maps that the restaurant and the 2 apartment buildings do cross over to city land that is part of the hockey rink. There is plenty of space in there available. You probably have to redo the, parking planning to make sure you stay with the same thing and everything else. But the beauty of doing that is it does, if you think about it, create a manner of hardship if that were required, and you could justify going up from 6 or 7 units to maybe 12 or 14. But 18 is just nuts. Thank you.
Thank you. So what do we do with this? I mean, I know the neighborhood, personally, the neighborhood don't want it. Something's gonna be built there, we're gonna have to figure out maybe what's gonna be built there? I don't know.
Developer will figure it out.
We are discussing right now. Right now, the discussion is with the board. Board only. You had your say. Now it's our say. There we go. So something's gonna be built there. And like, the only thing I worry about is an office building. And I don't know where we would take 100 cars or 120 cars. I don't know. Where would we put them? I don't know. I know you said you don't want this. I heard you loud and clear.
No, I mean, I agree. I looked at this, I've looked at this more than I think any other project that's ever come across our desk. And I went up and down C Street. Precedence is kind of an interesting word that's been thrown around because I know we have Grumpy's lot. But part of what zoning does is we look at each lot individually, and each lot on its own merits, and each project on its own merits. So, I do understand precedence, and I don't know when zoning laws were enacted in Massachusetts. I think it was in the 70s, wasn't it, originally?
The original ones, yeah.
Yeah, original zoning laws were like the late 70s. But there's the buildings adjacent, 141, 151, 169, 245, 340, 353, 455, each one has more units than this building. So precedence is an interesting word when we look at that side of the street. There's precedence already there. Again, it's each individual project and each individual unit. I've heard you guys, I would have a very difficult time supporting this based on the neighborhood's response tonight, but it's almost, I'm with you, Marty, it's almost a be careful what you wish for. I mean, if somebody put a restaurant in there tomorrow that actually has some traction, 150 trips, daily trips a day is gonna be nothing. They're gonna do that in an hour. You know, and you're gonna talk about safety concerns, and we're not gonna have any control over that because it's an allowed use today. So if somebody put a restaurant in there tomorrow, it's an allowed use tomorrow.
Why are you trying to convince us?
I'm not trying to convince anybody.
Feels like you are.
No,
I
we're
just
not.
told you where I lied. I just told
We
you where
already
I
told
lied.
you. If you're listening, we already told you. So,
I just said be careful.
Why don't you lie?
I'm just saying that
Let us talk.
there's a lot that could be built here.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot that could go on. It's you know, part of what we do in this process and part of what we do is understand what the potential impacts of projects too. So I'm just speaking out loud.
Well, what about the 6th unit? Is the developer?
That's for them to apply for, that's not for me to approve, you know, I mean, they own the parcel of land at this point. They can come back and apply for 6, well, they probably wouldn't even have to if they can do it by right.
So you just deny the
All right, we're not here to talk. Thank you.
I think we've been put on this board to accommodate building and pressuring of rules and stretching of rules when it doesn't make a situation worse than it currently is. In all good conscience, I just could not support a unit of this size negatively affecting a neighborhood that is obviously well-versed and well-concerned. The place that they live, the city of Quincy, they obviously love it. So that's where I stand. But once again, you have to be careful what goes in there, but something could go in there we would have no control over.
So, yeah, I'm familiar with this building, familiar with the lot. I worked at that very site for 7 years. I drove my car in and out of there, went to C Street thousands of times. It's a tough street, no question. But, you know, there's no moratorium on development. Some folks here have said, you know, you allow everything that comes before you. There's no moratorium in this city on development, so we hear every case and we make a decision. We hear the opposition, we hear the people in favor. We make the best decision we can. Nobody comes here asking us to reduce the size of their lot. Nobody comes here asking us to reduce the number of bedrooms in their house. So to the person who said, well, geez, you know, you guys just greenlight every single expansion. I looked at this agenda, everything's about bigger expansion. Well, that's why people come here. I just wanted to make that point, okay? Secondly, it is tough to get in and out of that street, as I said before, and it's dangerous, and I get that. There is a traffic study that was done, and the traffic study was done in contemplation of 24 units. You're now down to 18. This traffic study concluded that it would not be a problem. For what it's worth, okay, for what it's worth, paper. So, to those who said there's been no traffic study, there is a traffic study, and it's dated 2021.
Yeah.
We reviewed that. We reviewed everything. This is a difficult case. I grant you that, and there's a ton of opposition. I agree with the person who said there's no hardship that's been demonstrated, to my knowledge. They want more units than they're entitled to. But what is the hardship? It's the financial hardship. They can't develop this location and put in 6 units and make it look right. Councilor McCarthy has been at every single meeting for as long as he's been elected. He hears the same things we hear. He balances the same things we balance. And I have to echo what he said. If you don't allow something reasonable into that space, that's going to have some cars coming in, some cars going out at certain times of the day. Like my fellow members said, you could have a mixed-use office building with residents on top. You could have another restaurant go in there. You really need to consider what the other possibilities could be. Now, given the fact that there is so much opposition, I in good conscience cannot vote in favor of the petition. However, I do want to say that if you guys get together again, you have another meeting, consider what could go in there and consider what they're presenting to you and how much traffic and how much of a safety issue it's truly going to be in comparison to what could go in there by right. Okay, thank you.
Mr. O'Brien?
I agree with my fellow member about precedent. The precedent is along C Street all the way to the library and beyond. The precedent is already set, it's already there, that whole side of the street's there. I'm not likely to vote in favor of this tonight. I would like to say that you come up and you talk about traffic and what's going on. You had plenty of time and you criticized the traffic report that's there, but you could have hired a traffic engineer and had one done yourselves to counter the argument. I mean, you seem to be organized. Maybe you don't want to do it, but that would have been something that we could have looked at ourselves that would have surprised us and counted what we are seeing. And again, now the circumstances have changed. It's gone from 24 to 18. The traffic is impacted. You can get a revision of the existing report. You can get a new report. Just in the future, any information that you can provide, not just verbal, oh, I can see this guy going there and this. It's beneficial to us for our arguments when we're sitting to review what information we have. Because generally, the arguments, the information is one-sided. But if you get productive and you came in with a report by a professional that could counter their report, I think your argument would stand up better. Another thing to keep in mind is that the property owners can go to land court if we were to refuse it, and they can come back and get what they want, and we wouldn't have any say. It's occurred recently in a couple of locations in Wallaston. I'm not saying that that's what they're going to do, but be aware of that, please, that they can do that. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Yeah, Chris, would you like to withdraw this without prejudice? Did you say it will not pass right now? Okay, can I have a motion to withdraw without prejudice, please?
Mr. Chairman, case ZBA 21-75, JVC C Street LLC for a variance to demolish the existing building and construct a new 18-unit residential building with parking under on the premise numbered 105 C Street, Quincy. I make a motion to withdraw without prejudice.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention.
Yeah, we'll take a few minutes here for, let everybody clear out. 2258.
19 Fry.
Under old business, ZBA 2258, JCB Architect for variance to finish the existing basement in the open playroom on the premise number 19 Frey Street. The applicant and representative here. You take a note?
I haven't. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now in hearing? I do.
You have the floor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Jim Chen of JCBT Architect. Tonight before you, the project 19 Prey Street. It's currently a single-family residence on Res B. It sits on a 4,740 square feet of lot area. The applicant, the owner, is looking to finish a basement, which was seeking a variance on the floor area ratio. The current floor area ratio is 0.40, and what we're proposing is additional 620 square feet, in which 95 square feet is a mechanical room. So the proposed FAR is 0.51.
On the, what are you doing in the basement downstairs?
An open playroom.
I know, but what are you putting on the walls? What are you doing with it? What are you doing with the floor?
The floor will be tile and then a drywall around the perimeter.
Okay.
An open space,
I have
no
no
bedrooms.
questions.
I have no questions.
No
questions.
You can have a seat.
Thank you.
Does anyone want to speak in favor? First call, second call, third call closed. Correspondence, I got something here from the DPW. It's just they said nothing.
We've reviewed the above, the submittal for the above referenced project, have no comments.
Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Opposed or undecided? First call, second call, third call closed. I'll be voting in favor, it's just putting drywall up. Just keep
Yeah,
it-
I'm in favor. There's no bathroom, there's no additional
Yeah.
living space.
All right.
It's just a playroom, and I got a 4- and 6-year-old, and I want to get rid of them all the time, so.
In favor.
I'm in favor. Likewise.
Have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, case ZBA 2258, JCBT Architect for a variance to finish the existing basement for an open playroom on the premise 19 Prey Street, Quincy. I make a motion to grant the variance.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so moved.
Probably should have got the hardship.
Further on to tonight's agenda. Okay, back. 2259, JPC Architect for variance finding for an additional second-floor addition, including 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, converting the first floor in-law use on the premises number 138 School Street. The applicant and representative, you're up.
Good evening again, Jim Chen, JCBT Architect for the record, 585 Washington Street, Quincy. So proposed project at 138 School Street, which the applicant is trying to add a second floor addition onto the existing footprint of the house. Currently, on the first floor is only 1 bedroom and a kitchen and then two space for the living room. But on the second floor, they're adding 2 additional bedrooms and 1 bathroom.
What are you doing with the parking on the?
The parking right now, currently, I think, is 2 parking spaces, 3 parking spaces.
Yeah, can we get a little more of this?
Anyway,
Can't you move something? You got like, on the right side of the house, what does that go into?
On Stevens Street, there is 1 parking spot, and on School Street, there are 2 parking spots.
Can you make 2? Can you make 1 bigger to get 2 in, so we get 4 cars there?
got that shed.
Are you, I know, that shed can go too.
Back up.
That shed can go. And you want that for an in-law, you said?
In-law unit.
So is this gonna be a 2-family house? We don't have like in-laws really, or is it all gonna be in common?
It's set up as a common
Everything's
space.
in common.
Right. The second floor doesn't have a required egress to get out to become a second unit.
All right, that's what I just wanted to know if it's gonna turn into a B&B or one of those later on.
How deep is this driveway? Right there? You could probably fit.
No, he can.
You
He
want
can
me to
move
speak?
that, he can move that one over, he can move the shed back over here.
Yeah, the shed could come back.
Yeah, over there. That thing can even come back
Just
here.
for one more
Driveway is
spot.
70 feet.
Well, why not?
But if there's gas coming from all the
That's what I
concrete,
mean.
nothing
And
really
it's-
needed.
It's gonna pick him up.
Good evening, everyone. I've been living in that house since 2012. Love the neighborhood. I want to stay there. Know all the neighbors. They know me.
Want to take an oath, please?
I
You-
took it over.
Huh?
I did take it.
Oh, you
earlier.
did, okay, all right.
Love everything about the neighborhood. I want to stay there. Initially, it was just me and my parents. I'm engaged. I'm expecting. So family is growing. We want to stay there. Our family is nearby. Our friends are nearby.
You're gonna keep it a single-family house?
We want to keep it. We just want some more privacy
Okay.
and just different kitchen. That's
Yeah.
all we're looking for. We're not looking for a two-family. We just want
All right.
simple. And the first floor will be an in-law. I have elderly parents. There's a ramp. that
I
they
saw
can
the ramp,
walk,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to keep that as an
Okay.
in-law and just.
So, can we move that shed back and get 2 spots over there?
The shed?
He says, yeah. He owns it. He's paying you. I think it'll work. Okay.
Yeah, move the shed back, move the shed 10 feet.
I think we're all in.
And you could leave it, you could do it like pavers or something, so it doesn't, you know,
Nice.
Just
take
get
up
him
less
off
green
the
space.
street.
Just
Get
get
a
it off the
second
space.
spot off there. All right, I appreciate it. I'm all set with those questions. You?
I got none.
All set.
No questions.
Good?
Good. Thank you. You can have a seat. Is there anyone want to speak in favor? First call. Second call. No one speaking. Did you hear this? I can't hear. Is that a little different from
That's
earlier?
you. Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Watch
Third
out,
call.
Don't watch the recording.
Yeah, don't watch the recording. Third call will change. I just, correspondence. I got here, right here, just from the DPW. It says, reviewed the above referenced submittal, and we have no comments. Anything further, please advise. Just a
So,
name,
yeah, quick,
name and get to.
Bill Vic Verasso, 21 Stephen Street, Quincy, great neighbors in support.
Oh, good.
Bilal Alezi, 52 Packard's Lane, please consider the support, expansion. I remember when he and his parents moved to the area, they're great neighbors and friends, I hope they can stay. Adam Choi, 138 School Street, they're the direct neighbors. They have their blessing to expand their home as Quincy grows. I feel like it's great to see expansions for family focus. And Dorothy and Kenneth Barrett of 10 Stephen Street, great neighbors, great people, live next to them since 2012. They keep the property great, they're an asset to the neighborhood, and they support them. You're a good man, you know, I got good friends.
Yeah. Done very well, right. There you go. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? First call? Second call? Third call? All part of hearing closed. I'm glad they got the extra parking space there, just runs them over to everybody.
I got stuff around there, so.
And then later on, who knows, they
Yeah.
got a rental down there, or other people coming.
I'm in support.
In support.
In favor? Right.
Have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, ZBA 2259, JCBT Architect for variance finding to adding a second floor addition to include 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, converting the first floor for in-law use on the premise number 138 School Street. And make a motion to grant the variance finding.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience.
Further on tonight's agenda, ZBA 2248, Edward Lang for special permit.
I skip one, yeah, we can go.
Where did miss? They moved.
We moved these? We didn't announce that one, I don't think.
Can we move Mears? No?
No, we wanted to stay.
You doing Mears?
Excuse me?
You're not doing Mears, are you?
He's doing
You're
Lang.
doing zero.
We'll come back. to it.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, no,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go.
I don't know if that's out of order anyways, but whatever.
I know.
Good evening. First of all, thank you for your service. It's good to be here. It was tough for me to even hang around.
Thank you for your service, Mr. Mayor.
This is a special permit, floodplain, single-family home built on a single-family lot that's a buildable lot, meets all the setbacks. It's gone through Conservation Commission. there's a pretty extensive order of conditions relative to the building of the structure with a flow-through foundation and on pilings, parking underneath, approximately 2,500 square foot home, two-story, 2.5-story. So it's a single-family neighborhood, it's a single-family home, it's a buildable lot, and I'd ask that the board approve it.
I looked at it, there's plenty of room down there, too. I think it's-
A little bit of history with the lot. Gentleman that owned it has been, first of all, attempted many years ago to get through Conservation Commission with it, was making some progress and passed away. His sister now owns the lot. She's been paying taxes on this as a buildable lot for the last however many years, many, many years. And now decided to see if she could recoup some of the tax money that she's been
I
paying
have
for
for
that
47
lot.
years.
How many years?
47, I've been
Yeah.
paying a lot.
So,
Keep saying I gotta get there, gotta get there.
so it isn't a lot that went vacant that nobody was paying taxes on as a buildable lot in
Right.
creating something that she has been paying. It's been assessed for well over $100,000 or $200,000, and she's been paying the taxes on it. She's up to date on those.
No, I have no questions, I saw your plan.
I got no questions.
No question.
No questions.
Thank you. Can I have a seat? Is there anyone like to speak in favor?
Thank you. I appreciate your board, and I appreciate you even more sitting in the back.
I'm really enjoying all these moments.
Hey, I'm gonna watch this film again.
Yeah. Basically, I just wanted to say on this, it's a buildable lot in a single-family zone. They're building a resident, they're building to Residence A code and everything like that. The only thing I got from neighbors was the area is right on a marsh, and it's usually one of my regular calls in the spring for rats from the health department. They usually bait it on a regular basis. Request that in the order of conditions, I did bring this up with Councilor Phelan, that it gets baited when they're starting the construction and everything.
Bales and baited, yeah.
Yeah, and I think those are standard protocols anyways, but I just wanted to make sure those are in the order of conditions. And I got no opposition. That was the only questions that I got from the neighbors in the area. So,
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for hanging in.
Appreciate
Is
both
there
of you.
anyone else like to speak in favor? Second call?
Make it quick, please.
I will. John Rutherford, 60 Grandwall Road. We need more single families, homes in Quincy, so this is a good project. We, as many single families as we can do.
Good growth.
So, thank you very much. I'm in favor.
Thanks, John. Is there anyone else want to speak in favor? Last call? Call that part of the hearing closed. I got a letter here from DPW.
We've reviewed the submittal for the above mentioned project. Comments are as follows.
With feelings.
1, will there be any fill or change of grade due to the development? 2, the proposed erosion and sediment control practices should include temporary sediment traps and stabilized construction entrances. 3, please provide a profile view of the proposed building to be located in LSCSF. I don't know what that is. 4, discuss how to control the groundwater during construction and provide details on dewatering process on the site. No water from the construction site should enter the wetland area without treatment. Use 6-inch pipe with cleanouts for sewer service. Install a curb stop valve and box for water service. A certified plot plan from a licensed land surveyor should be submitted upon completion of the project. As-built plan showing all utilities, building footprints need to be submitted along with a digital file. An elevation chart should also be submitted if the property is in fact in the flood zone.
Call it public hearing closed. Is there anyone opposed or undecided? Anyone opposed or undecided? First call? Second call? Third call closed. No, I think it's a good project, nice set of plans. I like everything I see now. I'll be going with that.
I am in favor as well.
In favor.
I'm in favor.
Likewise.
Have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, ZBA 2248 Edward Lang for a special permit floodplain to construct a single-family dwelling on the premise number 0 Franklin Ave, Quincy. I make a motion to grant the special permit floodplain.
Second.
On the motion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Oh, some billable hours.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
On ZBA 2261, are we gonna be?
We're going right now to
We're
that
going
one.
now.
We missed it by accident.
Right, but the numbers, the numbers should have been behind it.
I see.
We
yeah.
missed it, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's all right, we're coming there now.
Now we're going there. ZBA 2261, Emmett Ceciliari, for a variance to build a 1.5-story addition with 2 additional parking spaces on the premise number 28 Mears Ave. Just, is the applicant a representative here?
Yeah, you said 28, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you the representative?
Yeah.
You have the floor. Did you take an oath?
Yes.
You did?
This is my first time, I don't know.
Raise your hand and take
Are you
an
an
oath.
attorney?
Okay.
You lied
about
taking the oath?
I should disappear right now.
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. No, then I didn't.
Okay.
Russell.
Russell.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And then, just state your name and address for the record.
Angelina Pari, I'm staying at 111 Dixwell Ave.
Okay.
At Quincy.
You have the floor. Why don't you tell us what you want to do?
Yeah, so I'm the owner of 28 Mares with my husband Edmund. He couldn't be here tonight. We purchased the house last year in August. The family is growing, so the cottage wouldn't work as it is. So I did the schematic design. I'm an architect, so hopefully I'll be able to explain everything. I tried to preserve the footprint of the cottage and the theme of it. It will be just one level, vaulted ceiling, kitchen and living room, and it will connect with the existing house that will host all the bedrooms, laundry, and the loft.
But you're putting an addition on this too, correct?
Yes.
Not above.
No, for the other
So it will,
side.
yeah, it will connect on the ground level,
On the ground
but it will
level.
go 2.5 stories.
And then 2.5 stories, then you got a
Above
thing
that.
in the back and you have the,
Yeah, so
Okay.
I was very mindful of the
Trellis over there, right.
setbacks, 13 feet on each side.
now is this
Um,
house 61 feet long? Is that what I was, if I remember something like that?
The existing one? Yeah, around that.
61 feet?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're getting rid of the covered porch, which is 5 feet, replacing that with the green area. Kept the 13 feet on each side, 25 feet on front, and 20 feet on the back. Now, for the loft area, I know the height limit is 35 feet. By code, we are at 29. Well, 30 and 29 because
Yeah.
it's kind of, it's going
Depends
down a bit.
Where you looking from?
Yes, from Mary's. The third level, which is, the code was 2.5 stories, is literally that, just half of the second floor and the terrace. And it's just an in-suite.
And you have a dormer on there too, right?
It's just a bedroom with a bathroom, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have its own exit from that third floor coming down all the way? Did I see that? Yeah, I
No,
did.
no, we have an exit to the terrace and then going down.
Right here, right?
Yep,
But that's not its own, that's it.
it's just one.
No, but this goes all the way down.
Yeah, yeah,
3,
yeah.
goes up 3 stories.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know that you're not renting that out to anybody. This is all,
Oh, no, it's
Okay.
just, yeah, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the size, which is quite big. But we have 2 kids, one daughter and one on the way, and then we both work from home, so we needed.
one in the way means you don't know?
No, she's
No,
got
it's
one on the
okay.
way.
She said I had a daughter
Am I
and one in the way, so is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl, I have 2
You
girls.
definitely need more space then.
Yeah.
Lot more space.
What else? Also the parking. There is one existing. Apparently, it's not enough if you have 4 bedrooms, so that's why we added 2 on the front of the house. It was impossible to shift the parking on the back of the house because it's so steep.
No, right,
The
right.
topo, so that's why we did what we have in plan.
It's quite a project you're getting into.
Yeah.
Really is. It's gonna look really nice. Just carrying the groceries up might be tough. Do your workout, weekly workout, carrying groceries.
Yeah, well, that's why we're staying with my parents, because we're trying to save. And we need to get out ASAP, so.
Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have any questions. I might have
Comments?
a comment in a second.
All right.
I have no questions.
Just want to make sure these stairs, they're a landing stair, right?
Yeah, they are.
It's just one big lap.
You put a parachute on, jump. That's about a slide, yeah. Right, roll those water slides down.
I don't have
Kids
any
can
questions.
fun. All right, you can have a seat.
Thanks.
Is there anyone want to speak in favor? Counselor, you want to speak first? Yeah. You can go home.
I'm gonna stick around.
Yeah,
Dave McCarthy, Ward 1, City Council, 48 Whitney. No, I think it's a great improvement, knowing that area growing up down there on C Ave, and I know the chairman's on Mears Ave. It's a great location, and a lot of houses that are up there, were cottages. They were all cottages, and to have the folks want to stay and have a family down there, I think it's great. Right where they are, there used to be a set of stairs you could go down that took you all the way down to Brill Field. So I don't know if that's there anymore, but it was a great place to grow up, and I think that's a big plus to have them there. So I'm in full support. Thank you.
Is there anyone like to speak in favor?
Appreciate your service too, Council.
Hey, you stood strong tonight, I give you that, man. You stood strong.
The devil you know.
That's right.
That's what I kept
That's
saying.
what I kept saying. It's like, you never know. You know what's gonna happen. Anyone want to speak in favor?
Down the back. No, one second, it's in the back.
Second call, third call, call up out of hearing
This is
closed.
Steve, yeah.
I have-
It's like a cliff.
I have correspondence.
We've reviewed the submittal for the above referenced project, and our comments are as follows. Specify how much impervious area will be increased due to the development. Will there be any new utilities installed? The existing pavers in Mears Ave, the existing paving in Mears Ave was repaved in 2021. 5-year moratorium on digging on this newly paved street.
I have,
You got that street paved,
I
huh?
got that street paved. It took me 9 years. Probably longer, 13.
That's-
Been complaining about that for years. And then he ruined my, I don't even want to talk about it. Destroyed my driveway, brand new driveway, destroyed it. Worst job in the world. I could have hired kids in high school who would have done a better job. Swear
He
to
doesn't
God.
want to talk about it though.
I don't want to talk about it yet. Mr. McCarthy, I have a letter of support you wrote. Would you like that in the record?
Sure.
There you go. We even write letters for you. Okay, hard work. Yeah. Anyone opposed or undecided? Oh,
Yes. I guess, my name is Elizabeth Lefebvre. I live at 34 Mears Ave, adjacent to this property.
Okay.
And I just recently purchased my house, and we moved in November of 2021. And one of the selling point and the highlights of the house was that you get to have a water view in almost every room. And my opposition is that the height of this building that's going to be there is going to block my water view and therefore diminish the value of my property. And I understand they're a growing family, they purchased the house and they have the right to develop it, but not at the expense of making my property go down. That's my opposition.
thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, come on up.
Oh, come on.
Hello there, my name is Darlene Lefebvre. This is my mother, so I'm also at 34 Mears Ave. We bought the property together, I think just after you did. So first of all, very excited. We haven't gotten to see you, so very excited to welcome you to the neighborhood and definitely in support of the home being developed. It does need work, so we are not opposed to that, but my mom does raise strong points of, that's like the first thing, if you've ever looked at even the listing, you pull it up now for 34 Mears, it's water views all around, and that's true, right? So for 2 of our bedrooms, we're looking directly at that. So this is really the first time we've had a chance to even look at this. I know we went to the website originally, some of the details weren't there, so we'd love to kind of just know more. about what's happening and then also hopefully see where it's going to impact that view. I'm hoping that where it ends up isn't a material impact because we are on that great hill coming, like looking downwards from where we see our view. But that is still going to be a huge concern because as you can probably guess, we paid quite a premium for that. And that is my first home, so I am pretty protective and excited to be here in the neighborhood as well.
I bought 81. I own 81.
Oh, wow.
And the lady behind me was a one-story building. They had the whole bay.
Yeah.
The whole bay. Any window in my house, you have water view. You still do, except for there's a big house in the middle, my whole deck. So I can look that way or that way. Pettix Island kind of got like half of it, a little less than half now. I asked her to buy it. Her son sold it to her cousin or something, or some cousin-in-law. I never knew until it was already done.
Wow.
But I tried to buy that. I wanted that lot instead of my lot, because I wanted to face that, so no one could build in front of me.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and he bought the land. So I'll tell you a horror story. Horror story. The guy was nice, he put a hip roof on for me, thank God. It could have been worse. Maybe they could do something like that. You're talking about the roof setting and how that could work out for them instead of...
Yeah, especially because that is, to your point, like, for us, that's half the view. So I know two of the bedrooms face that way, and then downhill, looking that way, over where the, like, the yacht club is, as well as our backyard, like our porch.
In addition to those comments, unfortunately, like, one thing that zoning codes has never looked into, and this board has kind of been consistent about, is the person who's entitled to the water view is the person on the water. As you can imagine, with 26 miles of coastline in Quincy, this conversation happens quite frequently, you know? So, obviously, there might be some type of solution that you guys can work out and figure out to diminish it. The nice part is you are up on a hill a little bit, and she's not going up 35 feet, she's only going to 29, so there's a little bit of leeway right there, and it's a flat roof, so, you know, there should be, you know, helpful instead of having pitched and getting up to 35. You know, not trying to sell you on what it is, but that, this board is kind of taking that stance that it's, you know, the water view is by right of that owner.
We couldn't see, I mean, like Darlene said, this is the first time we've seen these plans.
Sure.
The west side did not have any attachments.
Sure.
I tried to download them,
Well,
but there's one of them where it says it's about, you know.
See if she can go back and work with our
This right
architect
here?
and show them more of the plans.
Yeah.
You would explain it better as an engineer.
No.
It just seems like this height seems to be like, is that
That's gonna be,
36
no,
or
no, 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 no.
38 feet?
No, so total here was 29, wasn't it?
No, but
28,
she
I
said
thought
29,
she
but
said.
this says 38, right?
30.
So is that 36, it's hard to tell.
No, it does say 38. Why does that say 38?
38 and a half.
Which is 30 and...
No, I think it was.
Ask her which plan is right.
I think it was 29.
That
All
doesn't
right,
make
one
any
second,
sense.
one
though.
second.
8-3, that's just bad math.
It is, no, I think it is, because it's like 8, and this
30
one.
feet.
It's 30.
It is, 29, 29.
Oh, okay, so that's not like.
Yeah,
38
somebody
feet.
just did, nah, somebody did
So-
bad math.
Okay.
Not you.
That type, that type.
8
whoever
and 3
made the
quarters,
form
yeah, it's
did
just
that.
under 30 feet with a 12-foot, 12-inch fire, like 12-inch,
Yeah, that's what she did.
yeah, it's like, yeah, it's right about 30.
Yeah.
But no elevation drawings. I haven't seen any yet.
I know, and well, it's like the front stairs, you can see them.
If you look,
It tells you
that's what I was
3,
like.
5, but there's no, you know, like
She is going for,
pictures of the house complete
Yeah, that's what
with
I
the
meant.
siding and all that, which
Right.
we usually get. Which we can request and come back in 2 weeks and just vote. We don't have to hear none, just look at them and vote. And,
A more complete rendition?
yeah, a little better side view. too.
well, also, they might be able to talk and figure out something,
Sit
you
with the
know.
neighbors and talk about.
You
what
guys
they
are
can
gonna,
talk
both new
about.
homeowners, you're probably gonna live next to each other for quite some time,
Yeah, we
so.
haven't met yet.
Yeah.
I want to say they closed like 1 week before I did too. It was
Nobody
like,
wants to get started
Right.
off that
what was
foot.
Is there anyone else want to speak? Opposed or undecided? Second call, third call, call that part of hearing closed. Yep,
I can get them to talk
Yeah, why don't we do this? Why don't we, September 13th, we'll vote on it. All right, it's 2 weeks.
Have a
And,
conversation.
just have a conversation with your neighbors and get us a rendering of what this really looks like. In other words, you have all these drawings, I don't have no pictures.
Yeah.
And he can just put that together, snap.
Sure.
And it's in his computer, he can do that in 5 minutes for you. Tell him not to charge you. I said. Should have been in here. All right,
Yeah.
we make a motion to.
Yeah, I can
do
if I
this
can
in-
ever find my sheet.
It's 28,
Yeah.
CBA 2261, Edmund Tassel, I'm sorry.
Come on, Mike.
Tassolari for a variance finding, for a variance to build a 1.5-story addition with 2 additional parking spaces on the premise number 28 Mears Ave, Quincy, and make a motion to move that to 913.
Second.
on the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so moved. All right, you guys talk, we'll get the pictures, if you can get them to the clerk as soon as possible. Get them to the clerk, and then we'll be voting on that the 13th. So if you could get them to them at least by the end of next week so we can get them.
Okay.
All right, thanks. Yeah, just a week before. Yeah, like the 10th, the 7th,
There's not much you have to see.
right after Labor Day. We just need pictures.
The best seats in the house tonight, right?
Thank you. I know.
It's very.
Further on to tonight's business, thank you. ZBA 2280, what is that, an 8?
22-22.
We moved that. That's on 913, bud.
Yeah, see,
No, this is C Street property.
Yeah, we
Make a move.
moved it.
1092 C Street is continued to September 13th.
Oh my God, fucking losing it. You know what, I had it, it's missing. I had my other piece and I put it here. Where did I put it? Here it is, here. What have I gone?
We're on 2222.
See it? It's written on that one.
Yeah.
I pulled the
2222.
other one. All right, 2222. Edward Lisa Lee for variance to construct an in-law accessory apartment on premise number 200 Adams Street. Applicant representative here. You guys take an oath?
No, I did not,
All
sir.
right, if you could, Mr. Chin?
Yes,
Both
do
of
you,
yous?
do you both swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in the matter now in hearing?
Yes, I do.
Please
You have the
identify
floor.
yourselves. Identify yourselves, please, by name and address.
So, Mr. Chairman and the board, my name is Peter Venuto. I'm the owner of Adams Manor LLC. I am present owner of 200 Adams Street. Ed Lee and his wife Lisa are the purchasers of the home. We also brought with us today, Mrs. Chin is the mother-in-law, and the daughter, the mother of Lisa, and she's right here.
Okay.
I think there was a need to have her stand up here.
But that's okay.
All right, why don't you explain what you want to do?
So what we'd like to do is, Mr. and Mrs. Lee had purchased this house, and they'd like to have this in-law apartment so they can continue the care of their 82-year-old mother. They are the only caretaker for their mother. We had requested for a permit through the building department. It was denied. It said that we need to come through this process.
Yep.
And I do know it's a special circumstance, and it's a privilege to get a variance on a home. This is not intended for a bed and breakfast. I had a very lengthy conversation with the building commission
Yep.
on the issues in the town, the
Right.
things that are going on.
Yep.
I think as we can see, Mrs. Chin needs care. She's 82 years old. Mr. and Mrs. Lee do not want to put her in a nursing home or any kind of facility. And we've accommodated the construction of the house to accommodate handicap access during building this house.
Are we gonna put this in common? Is this gonna be in common, so you can't lock this off and shut it off? It's all
It's
in
in-
common, you can walk from any room to any room in the
Yes.
home?
Yes, you can.
Separate entrance.
If I may chime in for a few minutes here. So, my name is Ed Lee, 111 Marlborough Street, Ward 5. We live in a two-family house. We've been there for about 32 years.
Yep.
My mother-in-law, grandma, has been there on the second floor for all 32 years. And so, in purchasing this new house here, the kitchen is on the first floor. However, being that she's getting a little more frail by the week, You know, she recently had an accident, and we've had to help her out up and down the stairs.
Yep.
So we're thinking, the garage is on the ground level. If we can drive, when she gets off the car in the garage, she can just walk into her unit, her independent living. And that's a lot easier than going up and down the stairs. And that's why we're requesting this
But it's
variance.
still the same community, you know, it still
Yeah,
has.
it's not a
in
separate
common-
entrance.
it's
No
not-
separate
it's not-
lock-off
no, no, no.
entrance, no
No
way to
separate.
put a quick wall and just lock it off.
No, sir.
Nope, not at all.
I mean,
Are you
that's what we
doing,
just
are you
look
doing
for.
a full kitchen, or what are your plans?
It's a.
Kitchenette?
Kitchenette.
It's a kitchenette,
We don't want-
yeah.
With no disrespect to anyone in the room, we don't want any flammable
That's right.
Right.
Sure, okay.
issues.
Right,
Okay.
right.
That's right. We just,
Everything in a controlled environment.
Oh, yeah,
folks.
yeah, yeah.
we simply want her to have some independence. That's really what it is. Yeah. And so at the same time, we
She'll
get to
be
be
going to
close to
sit
her.
with dinner with you 99.9% of the time.
We have dinner almost every night. Almost.
And Mr. Lee has two other children, just so you know, that they still have teenagers that live with them, that care for the
Yeah.
grandmother, so it's,
Okay.
it's a perfect.
It's nice.
It's a perfect storm for the circumstances that this board has available to them to keep the people that live here in Quincy to continue staying in the community.
It's been a nice
You're
multi-generational
putting the
house.
bath back there and the new in-law suite, right?
Mhm.
All right. I mean, you could lock it off, you just close the door and lock it off. All right, if it's gonna be an in-law, I wanna look at it in 5 years, that's just me.
What's that?
I would like to look at it in 5 years, and we can just put it up for a re-up.
Okay.
That's fine.
There's craziness to my madness.
You might be in one of those suites in 5 years.
Exactly, and then I hope I can get out so someone else can get in.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's probably still gonna be a dinosaur up there.
Drooling in diapers, man.
Yeah, hey, show up
Any
in
questions,
diapers.
any other questions?
Looking at me,
I'm trying to keep this moving.
No, just
I got-
what I
I-
said.
yeah,
Just
good.
what I
You can
said.
sit for a
Thank you.
minute.
You can have a seat. Does anyone want to speak in favor? Does anyone want to speak in favor? Please do.
My name is Austin Partain. I live in Weymouth. I've represented both parties for the purchase of this house and helped Ed kind of design the house. Everything he's done to design this house is for his family, for his mother, for his wife, for his kids. So I'll keep it short, keep it simple, but that's been the process for the last year, is to make that house family friendly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak in favor? Second call?
I was going to say quick.
John Rutherford, 62 Grenwell Road. I'm in favor of this. I'm definitely, my dad's 82, and someday I might have to do the same thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Last call?
I just want to speak in favor of
There you go.
Eddie and his wife.
You got plenty of time.
They've been my neighbors for, can we have your name? Oh, excuse me, Dave Bertrand, 109 Marlborough Street. Thank you. And my neighbors, they're the best neighbors I've had since I've been there for 42 years, okay? Eddie's done a lot of things as far as improving his property since they got married. They did the whole outside of the house all over. When he does things, he does them the right way, and he's not trying to snowball anybody or take a
Right.
shortcut or anything
Right.
else, okay? And they've been model citizens. If we had more citizens like that in Quincy, we'd be all be better off.
I hear that a lot. Thank
Okay,
you.
appreciate it.
Service, sir.
Last call?
My grandson, actually.
Last call? Call that part of the hearing closed. I'll be voting in favor. I just want to...
Again,
Huh?
opposed or undecided? You're just going to skip over?
I just said. Oh, Counselor, I'm sorry.
I think you just did
I
in
said
favor.
last call.
No, that was in favor.
Oh, no. You said you were in a rush. You said you were in a rush.
Chuck Phelan, Ward 5 City Council. I've got a lot of calls from the neighborhood, and most of them are in opposition. I think a lot of you know and understand what's going on with the development, what's going on with the neighborhood. There's been a lot of complaints with some of the development. A month ago, they were taking trees down again. I regularly call Jay Duker on it. I look at the family, and obviously, but my concern with these, my concern as a ward councilor recently and before, is a lot of these turn into two families. And this is a Residence A area. It's a single-family area. It's not a two-family. And I don't understand why they couldn't be accommodated simply with the house the way it was.
Well, I think we can. We could put an open archway in there and get rid of the door.
Because
So it's
that,
not a lockout.
I share your concern,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that in a couple of years, it's locked off, and we've got apartments, and I deal with those illegal apartments.
And the sad part is, God forbid you ever had an accident.
Yeah.
Someone would be going to jail for time, real
And,
time.
and Jay
We've
Duke,
had it.
Jay Duke is on my speed dial every, actually, he's ahead of my wife, so. But my concern is with that, is with the apartments, that it becomes a two-family
Yep.
when it was built as a single family.
Exactly.
And a lot of the concern with the neighborhood, I think, is that it's, that's the problem. They're concerned that it's going to be.
I would urge, Counselor, as we continue to try and have aging populations, age in place, I think a lot of families want to do what this gentleman wants to do, myself included. I live in a residence A. I would urge you guys to address that in some way in the zoning code. I know you guys are talking about something to be done, because
Yeah.
it's turning our back on, like, my mom, who's been a resident here for 50 years, 50-plus
Sure.
years. And in the next year or two, she won't be able to live alone. There's got to be a way we can do it, where we inspect it annually, or like Marty just said, with an
Okay.
approval for 5-year
I'm
window.
more than prepared to look for that, but I can also go to my family house on 26 Kemper Street, where I took care of, they've since passed, but I took care of both my mother and father. We put an addition on for my sister, and it was basically a straight addition, and we were able to accommodate. We didn't need an in-law apartment or anything like that.
I understand that.
So we were able to very easily accommodate.
No, and I get that, but I think what we've done, and I've seen it happen a number of times.
Right.
We approve something here,
Mhm.
and we approve it with the open archway, and then I hear rumors and innuendo that people closed it off.
Yeah.
So it's better as a board to try and protect
Sure.
everyone under the same guise that you're doing, like, you still want to be able to accommodate somebody like
Yeah.
this who's done the right thing, obviously. It would be something super easy, I think, that we could do with, it's like, hey, semi-annual inspection to show that it's still a family member living in your house, something like that, but then it allows everybody to kind of, still validates your concerns and also validates families who want to keep staying here,
Yeah.
I did that on Mayor's Ave, and I did it for probably like 5 or 6 years ago. We did it, and we gave her 3 years because she was sick. And in 2 years she died, and I went over and talked to her, and I said, I know it's tough, but you got to open the doors up and you got to make it back the way it was. She just wanted to give us some privacy. So the city went up and they took care of it all. But it was on record that we were going to do that. But that can get lost. Like me and Jay talked about that with Jay.
He ran away.
He told me.
Well, he probably saw me coming up, and I realized I was going to have something for him.
So, but we talked about that. They can get lost in the paperwork unless we have something in zoning that really triggers a bell. We gotta have something in our process, in our paperwork, they can check off. So then there'll be, anytime it comes up, the computer's gonna kick it right out. It's gonna
Sure.
go in your list, 5 years up.
Yeah.
Or 3 years are up.
No, I'd be more than happy to sponsor something like that and bring it in.
I'd love to. And this here, I believe you're right. We should have an opening so it's open. You get the doors, because you can lock that off 2 seconds, just turn the bolt. And you got an apartment right there. And I know that's not what they're doing. They want to give them some privacy yet. You can put a curtain up, but you can walk through it too. And open. So I'll be changing that on mine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So with the 5-year, anyone else opposed or undecided?
Hello, I'm Jen Dwyer from 38 Sturtevant Road. And I want to say that how awkward this is to be meeting people who will be my neighbors and to be opposing what they wish to do. But I want to thank Chuck Phelan for the way he presented the neighbors that I spoke to, how he presented our concerns. And so I won't repeat the worries that we have about this whole, illegal apartments and that type of thing. But I am going to speak.
We worry about that.
And I heard you, and I appreciate your talking about a process that will protect not only the neighborhood, but also protect the people who are living in that. basement apartment. And I'm going to switch, and I'm not going to repeat what Mr. Phelan said, because I feel he did a great job representing us. But I am going to say that even in the design, now that I've met the family and the mother that will be living there, I do worry about her age and the types of exits that there are there, and also about even lighting. I mean, I'm really picturing my husband's mother, who was always going to live with us when she aged. My mother actually ended up living with us. And so I'm speaking with a different focus, that I do worry about lighting and exits. And I look at this space, and it's large enough for 2 apartments down there. It's beautiful space. So that's all I have to say in my opposition.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope I meet you in Brook Pleasant.
Thanks for your time. William Dwyer, 38 Sturdivant Road. So my wife has summed it up pretty accurately where I stand. I guess my biggest opposition to this is the fact that it's a variance, and that it's going to become something that where ultimately maybe that gives somebody the ability to turn this into an Airbnb or a second apartment. And so other than that, I have no problems with somebody having their mother-in-law or a family member live in the house. We would do the same thing. So I'd like to welcome the Lees to the neighborhood. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Mr. Dwyer. Is there anyone else? Opposed or undecided? Call it part of the hearing closed. We're all set. This here, the design here. Where's the footage on this thing? I didn't see it.
That's what I mean.
What's the footage on it? Do you have it here?
Easily be done, you know?
No, it can easily be done.
No, I'm just talking about
Oh, that,
putting
yeah.
something in the
Sure,
code that
sure.
addresses it, because
And then
it's
it-
just,
and then
it's- I mean, we're doing, I mean, they're happening all over the place.
Everywhere,
And
right.
people,
We're gonna have to
and
chase
you,
them
and you
down.
leave the doors
Yes,
open.
Mr. Duke.
And then the
Mr.
building
Duke.
permit gets issued, and they get somebody to go put a door in, and it's like, all right, we wasted all that time, you know?
Right.
It's just,
Chasing people around,
Yeah.
right, when it should have just flipped right up.
Exactly.
Mr. Duke, we're talking about this thing, remember we did on Mears Ave, we gave him an in-law apartment in the Residence A for, I think it was a sister. And then we changed it back 3 years later. They want to do the same thing, and we want open area, we want an open area here, somewhere, an open door. He's got, everything's locked there, right? You go out this way, you're.
Is that an entrance?
Yeah. And you go out this way here, and you go out this way here.
That's just a window.
There's a door,
That's
there's
just a
2
window.
windows to get out. Yeah, I don't know what this, there's a door there, isn't it?
No, it's a window.
I can't even.
It says
read it.
egress window.
Yeah.
You took my
It does,
plans.
huh?
Yeah. I mean,
There we
I
go.
got,
He's across.
I
oh,
got
yeah.
younger eyes.
Ooh.
Not old.
Egress window, what does it say under that? Good, $200. What is it?
I mean, what we try to do is have a space that's private inside the home.
Right.
But you gotta actually enter the home
Right.
to get to the space.
And that's what that is.
That's what this is.
There is
You
no
got-
independent
There's
entrance.
no, you gotta come through these 2, but there's 2 doors. And you could, I know, you can cut a door anywhere. If you
Yeah, but
had-
I mean, you're in the basement, it's just an interior door, it's like having an interior bedroom. It's just living space on the first floor. I think that's why we're seeing it, on the ground floor.
Here's my thing too.
Is there a bathroom?
Yes.
Kitchen, is there a kitchen?
No,
No, not a full.
no, it's like a full kitchen. They're gonna put like an in-law, just like the Abbott for stuff in a hot plate.
And the bathroom is the big.
No, nothing hot.
And the bathroom, but to get out, you gotta go all the way around. You gotta go all the way around to this. So no one from this mudroom, right?
Can use that bathroom. Yeah, it's like an ensuite bathroom.
There's no door there.
In the bathroom?
There's a door going into this unit, her unit. So there's no door to get from the mudroom.
Yeah, so
No, you can't go this way. You gotta go all the way
he's
around.
gonna come in like this and go this way to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
what I
it's an
said.
interior building, yeah.
But you still gotta go all the way
There's no
around.
exterior entrance.
You can have one exit out of the room with space.
I know, I'm trying to say, if you got an elderly couple there, would you wanna get out of the house?
Yeah.
If you had to?
Well, it depends if it's mine or not.
The big windows.
You didn't say that. She's only listening. She's only listening to this. You're done.
Well,
Go ahead, take Big Guy.
as far as travel distance and all that, it's all interconnected slopes and
I know, still gotta go. All right.
I think,
I
I think the original question, can we do a 3-year look back?
And just do a 3-year look back now until
Has to
we
get a
change.
reapproval.
It should. And Mr. Duker, it's hard chasing that, correct?
it is, I would ask, put a condition on that, that it never be separated, or independent unit, that it stays within, you have to cohabitate in order
Right.
to use the unit.
And that's what that is.
So it's just an addition, that's all it
Yeah,
is.
it's basic-
Inside.
Yeah, it's
It's
an
an
interior.
addition, right.
It's an
We
interior.
don't have,
Without a separate entrance, without an independent
without
entrance.
independent entrance, which you don't have.
No.
All right. I know.
And I think from the
And
aspect,
then I still would like,
About 3-year intervals.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, you could do that.
this gentleman seems like he would
Yeah.
That way you're just not doing it once.
Huh?
You're not doing it just once. If they follow up, you can do it
Right, yeah,
every 3 years.
it should.
It had to be recorded on the deed, which is also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we do that? Make a motion and then we'll put a 3-year intervals.
anybody
We'll
have any
be
other
looked at.
comments? You guys good?
Just an order of conditions.
Anything else?
Order of conditions,
Any-
he's saying it will be on
Yeah.
Well, the fact that it's a condition on.
the. Yeah, on the.
It'll be in, yes, it'll go in the deed.
Yeah, not the deed.
It'll be in the decision, the written
It'll be
decision.
the
Yeah.
written decision.
And that'll be
But
recorded.
the
as part
addition's
of the
gonna be
deed.
in the
Part of the
deed,
title.
right?
Yeah, anything you decide is gonna
Right,
be.
it's gonna be in the deed.
Okay, great.
So, ZBA 2222, Edward and Lisa Lee for a variance to construct an in-law accessory apartment on the premise number 200 Adams Street, Quincy. And make a motion to grant the variance with a 3-year
Renewal.
renewal,
Recurring.
recurring 3-year renewal.
Recurring 3-year renewal. Every 3 years from this date of signature, which next time we meet, we'll sign it, right? It'll go in front of us again. Should come up in front of us and we can look at it. Maybe we can just have Mr. Duper's guys look at it.
That's what I think it would
Yeah.
probably be, yeah.
All right, seconded
Second.
on the motion? We got everything in we need?
I believe so. Anything else?
No, I think that's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you for your patience. all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Last, but certainly not least,
ZBA 2263, William Knapp for variance to subdivide the property in 2 lots, construct a new single-family home on the premise number 110 Sonoma Road.
you lost your whole audience.
Really?
We should have taken up a collection.
Good evening. My name's Joseph McRitchie. I'm the owner of 110 Sonoma Road. My wife and I have lived there since 1986. And Bill has been our next-door neighbor for 27 years, and hopefully he'll still be our next-door neighbor, just a little bit closer. So we're very happy to, I want to give a little bit of background. The area where we live in Squantum, it's registered land, and the original plans were filed in September 21st, 1929. So I think it was a...
Excuse me, Mr. Lee,
Guys,
Mr. Lee,
guys.
can you guys step outside? Thank you. No, you're fine, thank you.
Okay. Fine, go.
Just go.
The original plans were filed in September 1929, I think a week before the stock market crashed, and what's known as the Great Depression. So the property that we own was originally 3 lots of the, I'm not calling it a subdivision, it was not a subdivision at that time, it was laying out of house lots. Brian asked earlier about the subdivision control law, and I think that was accepted in Quincy in the early 1940s. But the people that originally owned our property, the Kyles, bought the property in 1930. It was 3 parcels, one 5,000-foot lot, a 4,500-foot lot, and another 4,452-foot lot. And the entire parcel contains 1,352 feet. So we're a little short of the 7,650 square feet that's required by the ordinance. But if you look at the assessors map that goes down Ashworth Road between Sonoma Road and Crabtree Road, on our side, there are 9 lots. 2 of them comply with the current zoning of 7,650 square feet. On the opposite side of the street, there are 11 lots between Sonoma Road and Crabtree Road, and there is 1 lot that complies with the zoning. So, you know, we marketed the...
Those people on Crabtree Road?
Well, there's a couple on Crabtree Road that are undersized lots, but the 2 on the corner of Ashworth, one is 7,660 square feet, so it's 10 feet above the minimum lot size. Well, and they're on the, not on the water side, they're on the inland side. And the other corner lot is 8,049 square feet. But if you look at the assessor's plan, it certainly doesn't look like they meet the setback, the side yard requirements and so forth. But for lot size, they do comply. So, you know, when everybody says, well, we've got a lot that's twice as big or more than twice as big as all up and down the street, if the variance is granted, the lot will be very much in keeping with the other lots up and down the street. So, and I would like to also state that, you know, most of the lots have 50 or 60 feet of frontage, and we would have 70 feet on one lot, and the other one would be, you know, it's 75, and it's a corner lot, and there's a rounded and so forth, so that, you know, I think usually what the city does is they measure to the midpoint of the curve and so forth. So we're, you know, we're a hair short on both sides. And I would like to point out, and I can pass around a photograph that somebody gave me that shows my house is built here on Sonoma Road, and you can see Squantum Street coming up, and there's nothing between my house and the water. And I represented the people that sold their house to Bill Cuniff back in 1995, and they were an elderly couple in their 90s, and they told me that they were the original owners of their house. So Bill and I are the 2 people that are the second owners of our respective houses on Ashworth Road. I've lived in Squantum for, I hate to say it, but 70 years, and I've known virtually everybody that lived on Ashworth Road in these houses, and I know houses where there have been 4, 5, 6 owners, you know, during the time that I've been in the area. So we're longtime residents, and we do have, you know, we're invested in the community, and we're certainly not going to be, you know, this isn't a flip or anything like that. When we did market the property, somebody came in within the first week and wanted to put up a 4,000 square foot house or something that would, you know, look like the Taj Mahal on the 7,000 foot lot. And, you know, we rejected it out of hand. We want somebody that's going to come in and build a house that's in keeping with the other houses on the street. And there is, you know, there is an issue with topography, and Bill will talk about it during his portion of the presentation. But on the plan, you can see, if I can just point out, we have a deck that's off the enclosed back porch, and it's about 6 or 7 feet off the ground. There's a provision in the ordinance that says that an uncovered porch can go into the side yards, but it has to be no more than 4 feet off the ground. At the front of our house, our foundation is about 20 inches off the ground, but the elevation falls back from Sonoma Road by the time you get to this deck, it's about 7 feet off the ground. And Bill will talk about how the lot itself, in the back area, it's about 9 feet off from Sonoma Road, and the sidewalk on Ashworth Road is higher, the houses on Squantum Street, they're higher up. Bill's house is a little higher the lot's a little higher than us, so there is a natural little bit of a bowl there, and so the topography, which is the issue that does come up in the zoning ordinance, is the hardship. There is a hardship that we have. based on the topography, so, you know, we think we do meet the requirements of the ordinance. The plan would be to raise up the level of the soil to be more consistent with the surrounding area. So we would address the topography issue, and, you know,
Really,
sometimes...
You're just trying to flood your old house, is that?
No. I'm still gonna be a little higher. He's gonna be, but we will, you know, it will be brought up. You know, we had, you know, the city sidewalk, before they paved it, it used to, every time I'd go out to cut the grass, or every time it rained, there'd be pieces of the asphalt rolling into the yard, so, you know...
We used to have the running joke, Jay, that you used to have the boat back there because one day it would float.
Yeah, okay, well, it was a good area to store boats. It was a big yard that was very useful when my children were young. They played out there. We had an above-ground pool at one time. But when you get to my age, it's a little hard to keep cutting the lawn and so forth. I would like to pass the lot, especially
Yeah,
to
if we could see that, that'd be great.
Attorney Chin, we could see where his lot is. Vacant lot, this is probably 70, 80 years ago. So with that, you know, I'll let Bill talk about the hardship, but I do think that, you know, we're glad. I don't think there's any opposition this evening, and, you know, we hope you'll act favorably. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Bill Fenn.
Hey, Bill.
I live at 58 Ashworth Road, so I'm the immediate abutter right here, so we're certainly very pleased that we could work that out with the McRitchies to continue to be their neighbors. So we've worked closely with them, actually, and we already have an architect on board. You've probably seen the plans in your packet, but, you know, we certainly wanted to, number one, the house that meets our needs and also maintains the character of the neighborhood. So the house that we're designing meets all the current zoning requirements for setback, parking, height. So just quickly, and as Jay noted with regard to, you know, the hardship and soil shape of the parking, it does slope 9 feet down to here. I don't know if anybody was able to go by the site, but you can see that that side, the city sidewalk down here is about 4 to 5 feet. So it's been kind of an ongoing battle for the McRitchies to kind of maintain some shrubs and some fencing there so that the city sidewalk doesn't erode. So I did have a draft site plan from, we're working with Hardy Man and G-Man, that we're going to be working to be able to pick those grades up along this sidewalk level to make them more level with the sidewalk. So again, the house is pretty straightforward. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Nice.
This is McRitchie's house here. Here's my current house. And it kind of presents as a 1.5 story. It is a 2-story house. This is the deck that Jay talked about, so we understand kind of that privacy issue, so we're going to have kind of a natural barrier between those. So.
What's
Really
the width?
cool.
What's the width of your house right there?
So it is 44 by 55. So it does max out the setbacks, but
Yeah.
part of that, not that I'm at that stage yet, but we looked at it. One of the reasons we jumped at this is because we can put in a ground floor master suite. So.
I keep trying to figure out how I'm gonna fit a garage into the width of my lot, you know, so I just, just getting ideas over here.
Right. That's pretty.
It's nice job.
You should take a picture.
I can just go.
Yeah. Any questions? Anyone have any question on the board? I have none.
No. I have none at this time.
Nope.
I had one question.
Okay.
It's in a flood zone, so what are your plans for the flood conditions?
It's not in a flood zone.
Oh.
We do have, the elevation, I think, is, do we have some of the elevations on it? It's just that it's because it's a little bit of a bowl. You know, we have Sonoma Road sloping down. It slopes down on all 4 sides, but the elevation is not anywhere near a flood zone. We're blocked in.
Repeating what it says on this map.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It says locust lies in the flood zone.
I don't think that's.
It may be in a large flood zone area, but it's not in a 100-year floodplain or flood zone.
in a flood zone.
Doesn't require.
No, we don't have the required flood insurance or anything, yeah.
Typically, the flood zone maps, the firm maps from the city, do have the whole city as a flood zone. Some are X, some are A, some are so it's probably in a zone X. I think it's.
Yes, it is Zone X.
Yeah, it's Zone X, yeah, so it's not.
Thank you. No other questions.
Yeah, because there's no.
Is there
there's no,
anyone
like,
that would like to speak in
running
favor?
water underneath, right?
Yeah, I'll be quick.
Oh, thanks, John. Real quick. Yes.
Famous last
I'm always in favor of single-family development, especially in Squantum, so I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Appreciate John.
John?
Good work, John.
Anyone else want to speak in favor? Second call, third call, call up out of hearing closed. Letter here from the DPW.
We've reviewed the above reference project, and our comments are as follows. 1, provide a clean out for the sewer service. 2, provide a gate valve and a box on the sidewalk for the water service. 3, confirm the invert of the 6-inch drain overflow pipe on Ashworth Road. It seems the level of the road is higher than the ground level of the proposed Caltech system. 4, install survey monuments to delineate the subdivision. The subdivision plan should be recorded in the Registry of Deeds. 5, upon completion of the project, as-built plan showing all utilities and building footprints need to be submitted along with a digital file.
Call that hearing. I have a letter here from Mr. Harris, Chairman Akins, and board members, 110.
Can you read it with more passion, please?
I am. Senoma Road. My name is William Harris, and I'm a resident of Squantum, as well as the Ward 6 Councilor. Tonight you're hearing KCBA 2263, 110 Sonoma Road. William Canoff for variance to subdivide the property into 2 lines and construct a new single-family house in a newly created lot on the premise 110 Sonoma Road. I want to make this perfectly clear. As an abutter and a neighbor to the Canoff family, this project will be an asset to our neighborhood.
Good. Way to put the
I
emphasis.
asked that this project be approved. It's gonna make his house worth more money.
You didn't write that part.
As the city council, I received no letters, no objections, no letters or calls for approvals of this project. Unfortunately, I cannot attend the meeting tonight, but Council have. Anyone opposed or undecided, second call, third call, all out hearing closed. I'm voting in favor.
In favor. Thank you.
Favor.
I'm in favor.
Favor. Motion.
Mr. Chairman, in the longest night, no, it's not even the longest night. ZBA 2222, Edward and Lisa Lee, oh. Sorry, ZBA 2263, William G. Cuniff for a variance to subdivide the property into 2 lots and construct a new single-family home on the newly created lot and premises numbered 110 Sonoma Road, Quincy. I make a motion to grant the variance.
Second.
On the motion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And motion
Thank
adjourned?
other members for their work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
See ya.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you for your.